exploring the multiverse of pop culture. This is Casserole, an Adam and JP show.
Well, hello, and welcome to Casserole, a safer at home edition of Casserole. I'm Jay Patrick. Shoot us an email, adamandjp@gmail.com, or tweet at us at adamandjp. Here's how it works. I will see your email. Adam will see your tweet. This is another one of our Corona calls. You know, we have the time. We're all kind of huddled in our houses for days on end. So we decided to start calling around some of our friends, people that you know from the show, and start putting these shows together. The same night that I talked to Adam for the last episode, I also talked to our buddy Brent from the Broken Token podcast. It's the Broken Token Pinball and Classic Arcade podcast. Brent will tell you the full title coming up during our call. I just call it the Broken Token Show. And we first met Bent and Whitney in Louisville a few years ago, almost a decade ago. Is that right? Are we getting close to a decade ago? They were doing their podcast there, and they were live streaming their podcast through the entire weekend. So they were set up right there on the main floor where all the games were. They had this big, just amazing podcast setup were speakers kind of broadcasting what they were doing to the people gathering around, and they were doing interviews, and they were chatting and basically bringing to their listeners on the live stream the experience of the Louisville Arcade Expo. And so we kind of started chatting with them and became fast friends, and they're the kind of friends that we see maybe twice a year in Louisville, which I didn't go to Louisville this year, so I missed Louisville, but we did see him in November in Nashville at the Grand Ole Game Room Expo. They were both here for that. So, yeah, I thought, it'd be fun. Call Brent, chat with Brent, because Brent is always texting me commentary on episodes of Casserole, usually about Adam. And when we started to do these calls, I was like, yeah, I'll reach out to Brent. I don't think we've ever done just Brent on the show. I would like to say with me and Adam, but the way we're doing it now, it was just me and Brent on the show. So here's what we'll do. We'll have the conversation with Brent, and then we will follow that up with a classic Adam and JP episode of some sort. A reminder, on the last episode, I talked about doing a request show, and that has picked up some steam. Already got requests. We're definitely going to do that. So email me your 80s, 90s, or 2000s request. 80s, 90s, or 2000s. And you can do multiple ones. It just doesn't have to be one song. Like some of the emails that we've gotten list 5, 6, 10 songs. So just write it out. Your favorite songs from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Email me, adamandjp@gmail.com. And coming very soon, hopefully in the next week or so, I'll get to work on that Adam and JP all request playlist episode of Casserole. I'm kind of looking forward to doing that. Did a call today with Brooklyn and Josh. And once again, just like Brent, as you'll see, only planned on talking maybe 25 minutes, half an hour. Talked for over an hour with Brooklyn and Josh, mostly about Tiger King on Netflix. Or not mostly, but at least a lot. So you can look forward to that episode coming out in the next couple of days. As I do these calls, I want to be timely with it, because some of the stuff we talk about in these episodes, especially when we're talking about the virus and COVID and all that, it could change within the day that we record to the next day if it comes out. So I'm going to get these out pretty fast. And I'm going to shut up and let you experience this conversation from the other night between me and Brent from the Broken Token podcast.
He's a pinball wizard, it has to be a twist. A pinball wizard's got such a subtle wrist. How do you think he does? I don't know. What makes him so good?
So, Brent, welcome to. Have you ever been solo on Casserole before? I don't think you have.
Oh, so am I live now, JP? Is this
you're
how
live.
this works?
Yeah, you're live.
Oh, okay. All right. No, I have not. I don't think I've ever. I've been on the show before, haven't I?
Yeah. I mean, because we've recorded some stuff at Louisville Arcade Expo. I think we phoned you one time, but Adam was with me. But I want to say, like, for some reason, I want to say maybe we talked to you and Whitney at the same time. I don't know. I think this is your first solo appearance.
I'm fairly sure that it is, and I also think you're imagining the phone call. I don't recall that ever. So
maybe
you so rarely talk with me anymore, JP. I feel slighted at times.
Well, we used to see each other every year at Louisville, but I haven't been the last 2 years.
We miss you.
I know.
I had
what
plans,
I heard.
JP.
I
I had
know.
plans.
What were your plans?
Oh, I can't tell you. It would have been a surprise, which I still have queued up. So don't worry about it.
See, I believe you when you say you had plans, because the last time I was there is when we got the giant jar of pickles that we still are getting mileage out of on the podcast.
And do you still have some Twinkies?
I think the Twinkies, once we opened them and I ate the stale Twinkie on the air, then I worried about bugs getting to them and stuff. So the Twinkies are not.
I'm feeling excuses. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
Would it make you feel better if I just said I ate all the stale Twinkies?
No, I actually would truthfully question your sanity at that point.
But yeah, the Twinkies are gone. I kept the box though. Still have the box.
Oh, the box is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh man, I have a collection story too. Speaking of Twinkies, it's sort of related. But do I need a formal introduction? I know I've been referenced on your show forever.
I'm sure I did that all before I came.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, we'll just go with it then.
Yeah.
So one thing too, also, while it's on my mind, and this fits in with something that you and Adam would like, and I've been meaning to share this with you forever. Do you realize that there is a way to watch marathon episodes of one of your own favorite shows, Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack, totally free
on Amazon? Well, I've seen them on Amazon, but how do you watch it totally free?
So Pluto TV, have you all heard of that yet?
I've seen the commercials.
Yeah, Pluto.tv, channel 334. It's back to back, Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack.
Just constantly, 24 hours a day?
Yeah, on channel 334 on Pluto TV. You can hit it on a browser, Roku, your phone, smoke signals perhaps. I'm watching it right now.
So is it just streaming constantly? Like when you flip over there, you're just in the middle of a show, and then the next thing that comes on is going to be Unsolved Mysteries? And
yeah. So think of it almost kind of like conventional cable. There's channel numbers, and then some channels have newer content, but a lot of the things that Pluto uses to support itself is they will have channels that are exclusive to a given show. Like there's a lot of MTV channels
right.
that have MTV shows. I keep hitting unmute. There's one that runs Unsolved Mysteries. There's one that runs, that's an MTV show, The Hills. There's a new one that runs Cops, and one of my favorites is there's one that runs the old black and white Addams Family.
Oh wow!
Oh, it's hilarious.
Now I know that
I have fallen in.
Go ahead. We have Hulu Live TV, and one of the channels on there is a channel called Cozy.
Okay.
And on Sundays they show 7 hours of The Office, but then right after that, The Munsters. It's not the Addams Family. They show the Munsters.
I wouldn't mind catching up on the Munsters. I haven't seen one episode in a long time.
I'm backlogged on my Munsters.
Well, I'm sure there's a few episodes in there. What was it? Was it TBN or what? What was the station back in the day in early cable that was the Superstation?
Oh, TBS. TBS was the
TBN?
Superstation. Yeah.
It may have been TBN that would run them pretty regularly. It seemed like there was one of the early cable channels that would run Munsters and some of the old shows pretty regularly.
WGN out of Chicago?
That was it. I bet it was WGN.
Yep.
Is that the one that did the gimmick where they would start 5 minutes off.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they always would. Oh, wait a minute. No, I think maybe that was Turner. I think Turner did that.
Did they?
Yeah, I think Turner, TBS and TNT would start 5 minutes later. So if you flipped over after you didn't want to, you would
Yep.
start at the beginning. Yeah.
Is Cold Case Files one of the shows you all kind of enjoy as well?
I don't think I've ever seen an episode of Cold Case Files.
Total dedicated channel on Pluto TV. This is like an advertisement for Pluto TV.
Now,
They've got a Doctor Who channel.
Oh, wow. Now,
Yep.
Here's my question about the Unsolved Mysteries. Is it just the stack years, or do you get the more current ones where Dennis Franz was the host?
No, I'm going back up to it right now. The logo for the channel has Robert Stack's profile in it.
Okay.
It's Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack.
Yeah.
And when you look at them, it's obvious that they're a little dated. I don't know when Dennis Franz did it, but you can just tell by the dress and the haircut.
Yeah, I think Franz was I think they tried to revive that in the late 90s, early 2000s, and he was the host.
Oh, okay.
I love the stack years. Do you have a favorite Unsolved Mysteries episode? Because I do.
I'll be honest with you. I've not. I know you do. I've not really watched it. I recall watching it when it was current.
Yeah.
But I haven't become addicted to it like I have the Addams Family channel.
Yeah. Well, it happens. There's no Morticia on Unsolved Mysteries.
No. I tell you too, what one of the channels that's on here, and this sounds boring as can be, is Minecraft. So they chose a content producer that is the most of the episodes that run on here are from a particular content producer from YouTube, and they take his YouTube videos. And he's very family friendly, so it's easy for them to kind of just take his stuff and put it right on their network. And I started watching it. I've heard people talk about the game, but I've never played it. That's not my genre.
Right.
I
think it's
old
terrible.
school.
I hate the idea of it.
Oh, and I don't know if I could. I didn't know what the idea was.
I don't think there is one.
That's why I started. Do what?
I don't think there is one.
And to a degree, I would agree with you. It's kind of what you make it. No pun intended, because you're doing a lot of building and making in Minecraft.
Right.
But it was interesting to start watching because I know my nephew played it. So that's kind of actually what got me into doing a little of the Pluto stuff once I converted over to streaming, was so that I could I was like, well, this is interesting. Let me try this. And I watched it. And it kind of gives me something. It gives me a little background on the game, and I can sit down and actually talk to my nephew about it and kind of connect a little bit. So,
yeah, I could not get into Minecraft. Adam's a big fan. I am not.
No, that doesn't surprise me. Not at all. Where is Adam?
I just talked to him. He's at home.
Okay.
How's
he doing?
He's safe at home. He's good. I think the Rona has left his system.
Okay, well, good. I'd have to see if I'm pulling up your my podcast app now to see if I'm a show behind. Was it the last show where it was the interview with him in his car as he was hiking?
Oh no, that was 2 shows ago.
Oh my gosh, I'm way behind.
Yeah, he was better last week when we talked to him, and now he's totally Rona free. Which he was never diagnosed, but we know that's what he had.
Well, I've only got one more show. I've got season 10, episode 5, Adam Dote, or collecting the COVID-19.
Yeah.
And then the only other one, next one that shows up is social distancing, or is that you, Rona?
Look, I don't know who names those shows, but whoever it is clearly is a genius.
Oh, obviously. They're absolute total genius.
So if you're not familiar, now what's the official name? We just refer to it as the Broken Token Podcast, but it has a much more official name than that. Please tell me the official name of your podcast.
It's the Broken Token Classic Arcade and Pinball Podcast.
And you host this with Whitney.
I do. I host this with a fine gentleman named Whitney Roberts. Yes.
So, how did you and Whitney meet?
Well, Whitney and Whitney is sort of local to Louisville, and the the scene is kind of the same here as it is everywhere. It's big, but it's small. There's a lot of people kind of in it and that mess around with arcades and pinballs, but when you kind of boil it all down, there's we all kind of know one another, so eventually we all kind of crossed paths. And I had met Whitney initially at a sale that I was putting on for a friend of mine who was a retired operator, and he was clearing out his warehouse. And, just kind of in passing, I'd seen him. And it turned out on down the road, he, through the company he works for, was assigned as a rep to the company that I work for. And I work for a pretty good sized company here in town. And as it even was more kind of coincidental, we've got offices everywhere, and he happened to be in our office quite a bit. So one day I saw him, and then we struck up the conversation, having met prior. And just as we kind of chatted and got to know each other a little bit more over, the ensuing weeks and months, I approached him one day. I knew that he had Broken Token kind of as a thing, and he was doing a little blogging. And he kind of already was branded to a certain degree. And I approached him and said, "Hey, do you want to do a podcast?" And man, he lit up, and then the rest was history. And that was, I think we're six and a half years into the show, and we worked and planned and to get everything spun up. It was a good 6 months or so, if I recall correctly, before that. So we've been at it for a while.
Wow. And if you've never listened to the Broken Token podcast, there's a few things you need to know. One, go for the camaraderie, and be aware that you just might learn something, because you guys get very technical. I mean, this is truly like a podcast designed for the pinball and arcade, or classic pinball and arcade collector. And not just, and it's not like, if you've never listened to the show, it's not like these guys are like, "Well, I love the Addams Family pinball." Yeah, me too. It's not like that at all. I mean, you get into the specifics of like the guts of how pinball machines work, and you talk about repairing these. And
pinball and video games, yes.
True.
So,
and I know when you say playfield, I know what you're talking about. After that, you lose me.
So, well, is it one of those things that, because there's a few things, I guess like the Minecraft, I don't necessarily either have a lot of desire to do that thing, but it's still kind of interesting to listen to people talk about it. Is that what you're telling me this is for you, JP?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And then, you might talk about me, or, no, I'm just
You may come up from time to time, yes.
But no, I mean, you guys go on diatribes like pop culture stuff. But
yeah.
Man, when you get into I'm like, holy crap.
So
like,
yeah, the general format of the show is generally kind of a warm up with Whitney and I, kind of even that is a mix of what is the later segments. Generally, things kind of do creep into one segment or the other, but generally it's kind of a warm up, what we've kind of had going on, just what's going on with Whitney and Brent since the last time we recorded. And then things can pop into those segments, whether it's something interesting that we've discovered, a tool, some kind of neat product. We like to do as often as we can. It's been a little hard here recently just because of Whitney and my work schedules. We really like to sit down and talk to people, just like you're doing, JP. I mean, when you hit me up to do this, I thought this was a great idea. And actually, I want to try to steal your technology. I want to figure out exactly what you're doing to tie me into your mixer, so maybe we can do it a little easier than we have in the past.
It's very technical, Brent. You need to get one of the most advanced pieces of technology available, the iPhone 6S.
Oh my gosh! Well, I'm already out there.
Because if you get anything later, you're not going to have the phone jack.
Oh, so you're going just like 1/8 inch into a 1/4 inch into the mixer?
Yeah.
See, I've done that, and I've had problems with. Now, of course, I've created a ground loop, and I get some buzz off the power supply when I plug the phone into charge.
Yeah. Oh, I could. Oh, yeah. I just run it off the battery. I did that.
Okay.
The first time I talked to Adam, I had it charging, and I found the same thing. It was causing some problems.
We've actually picked up some line filters, but we haven't had a chance to actually use them to see if it filters that out. And I've gotten a better cell phone. I was the one that did it last time. Have you David Corrigan, right, of Grand Ole Game Room Expo there in Nashville? Yeah.
Yeah.
I had him on, and man, we fought it one night. That's a whole other story. But anyway, so yeah, the show itself is we do a little warm up with us, and then we like to try to do interviews. That unfortunately we just haven't been able to do that as much as we had in the past, and not just industry people, but like collectors, to really understand, just what makes us tick as collectors. What got a given person into it, and what do they like, videos and pinballs, and what genre. And it's as diverse as you could imagine. There's so many sub little cultures in what you would think would be a pretty finite group.
Right.
And then, like you said, we do like to try to cover some technical stuff. We like to try to help people get in a position where they can work on their games, or at least look at them and assess maybe kind of what's going on, and be a little bit better informed if they have to go somewhere else and ask some other questions in a forum like on Facebook or Pinside from the pinball perspective. And the other big thing that we like to bring is products. And Whitney loves to do that. He really likes to mine deep and see, hey, what's out there? Who's making something that'll make our lives easier, or make a machine that's set in a corner make it run again because this thing is now available. So that's kind of the show, and pop culture, and we do touch on some little console stuff like Atari 2600, classic console stuff. We've done some Dreamcast stuff, and then there's always random pop culture rants in there.
Oh yeah, and that's what. Yeah, I do love the random pop culture, and I love when I get to be part of those at conventions. Because you guys,
you're our pop culture like guru.
Guru, ooh, that's a big one. Because we recorded together at Corrigan's show, the Grand Ole Game Room Expo in Nashville this past November.
Yep.
And you just recently posted that.
Oh my gosh!
You posted that as one of your episodes, or a part of, because your episodes are 14 hours long. So,
as I'm sure your listeners have already figured out, I'm wordy.
Apparently.
So is Whitney.
So I mean, man, it takes like 3 weeks to finish an episode.
It's all about commutes.
Hey, and you got me, because I will listen back and forth until I finish it. So
I'll tell you, we had a write-in from a listener, and he was is a long distance runner. And he loved our shows. All I could do was apologize to the poor guy. But he would take our shows, and it was Whitney and I in his ears as he ran.
Wow.
So that's motivation. So anyway, I cut you off, JP. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, the panel that we did at Grand Ole Game Room Expo, you posted as part of one of your episodes, which was really cool, and I had a blast with you guys like I always do. Though, when I listened back, I realized apparently my mic wasn't plugged in.
Oh, it wasn't?
I mean, when you listen to it, like there's a lot of, well, it's not on you guys because it wasn't your equipment. But, I mean, the mic that I was on sounds really bad.
Oh, well, I edit the shows. And the live shows, especially when it's not our gear, it can be challenging.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I want to say that there was a couple snafus getting some audio, just because of just the, I don't have to get into it here, but the kind of just the way things ended up working out for the show this year.
Right.
So yeah, it was. I did it. I did the best I could with what I had,
and it was great. But I was like, actually, the first thing I was thinking was like, was I not even using a microphone properly?
Well, this is my first time at the mic.
It certainly sounded like it.
If your listeners haven't heard that show, just check. Broken Token. You can find us in. We're pretty much everywhere. Any podcatcher app is going to have us listed. We're in iTunes and whatever it's called today, and whatever Google Play is called today. We're out there on all the major aggregators. But
you're out there.
Yeah, we're out there.
You're out there not making money while the rest of them do.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Just like everyone else.
It's a labor of love, JP. It's a labor of love.
I
don't know the show number, but yeah, everybody go back and listen, because the thing with that show is that I had conspired with JP.
We had
against Whitney,
and
when it was all said and done, JP comes in and he performs.
I'm a mentalist, Brent.
I'm a mentalist. Yes, exactly. I was trying to. How do I sell this, JP? He JP the mentalist comes in, and I would have sworn that JP was also in cahoots with Whitney,
but I wasn't,
unbeknownst to me, and they had turned it all back on me.
Nope. Nope. That was just something that I'd been doing. I'd done that trick at a Halloween party a few weeks or a couple of weeks before we recorded that, so it was still fresh. Mm-hmm. And because I am a mentalist, I saw a bartender do it twice.
And you figured, yeah.
And I figured it out. And then, so then I was at a Halloween party a couple of weeks after that, and I was like, and then I started doing it. And I did it. It was like, I don't know how many times. I must have done it 10 times that night for various people. And so I pretty much had it down by the time we got to your show. And so I could do that trick. But no, that was not, there was no collusion. We weren't in cahoots.
Well, Whitney is almost, I'm going to say almost, because I'll get him. He is infallible. I try to catch him, and no matter what I do to him, which was the cahoots part with you, he'll roll with it. And he was cool as a proverbial cucumber, and I was convinced that my trick had been turned upon me.
No, I assure you, it had not. Hey, I want to ask you some, and to show just how deep your pinball knowledge goes. And I'm not going to throw it. Okay. This is not like any. As far as I know, there's no gotcha questions here.
Okay.
But
go ahead.
No. Preface what we're going to do. What were you going to say?
I was flipping through my episodes here, so I was trying to get everybody an episode number for that, and I'm. It looks like it was probably episode 85. 8
years, and they're at episode 85. But you do monthly episodes.
We do monthly episodes.
Yeah.
And we have only missed one month. So we've released, and now there's been a couple like number, A or something like that when we've done releases for like a couple in a month, like we've done every year. We do live streams at Louisville Arcade Expo. Those are the next two episodes that'll come out. Will be the 2020 Arcade Expo live stream shows.
Right.
And I think you all went through this. It seems like I've heard you discuss this. We eventually just gave up on the sub numbers, on the letters, and so every episode, regardless of when it comes out, gets a number now. So
yeah, and then we're gonna get in the weeds here, a little podcast talk. But when Apple rearranged their how they did their directory, where you could start doing it by seasons. And then you can do the numbers within the seasons through Apple. I started utilizing that. However, if you go to any of the others, say Spotify or iHeart or Google, TuneIn, any of the others, you still see the episode number, like the full number. And I think we're we're coming up on 400, maybe.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we're coming
Yeah,
up on episode 400.
Our highest numbered episode is 88 right now. So 89 and 90 will be what's coming out.
Oh, 88 miles per hour. Now your episode names, it makes sense to me.
You just now got that.
Yeah, it just hit me like
you realize the logo has a DeLorean on it, right?
Yeah, I know.
The banner for that episode.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, when I pulled it up, it's just your show logo.
When
I listen
in
from
your app.
Yeah, my app.
All right, so you got some questions for me. And don't let me forget. Make a note. I got to tell you. I got to tell you the collecting story that I alluded to earlier.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I won't.
And it relates to Twinkies and food. Okay.
Twinkies collecting
Sort of,
Twinkies.
Yeah. Well,
maybe.
Go ahead. All right. Yeah.
For a little while, you collect them, but then eventually you get rid of them.
Yeah, they got to go.
So I'm just going to ask you some stuff that I know about pinball. So it should be like entry level pinball knowledge, and then I'll let you expound upon it.
All right.
And we'll do this until it gets boring.
Okay.
Can you explain when I say Pinball 2000? Can you tell me what and everything behind Pinball 2000?
Yeah. So the short of it is that was the last gasp of Williams Pinball in like 1999, and they were, pinball wasn't making any money. There's been several low points in the industry, and Williams was about ready to fold their pinball division. And what Pinball 2000 was this attempted a savior of the company, and it was a push to add something new, in air quotes, modern, to make that jump into what's the next thing for pinball. And some of it's my words. You can kind of interpret it however you want. But the short of what they ended up doing is do you know what the Pepper's Ghost magic trick is?
Yes.
Basically, It's Disney uses it all the time. If you've ever been fortunate enough to get to a Disney park, they use it in like the Haunted Mansion. And the short of it is you use a half silvered mirror, so that you can actually kind of see through that, so you can see what's on the other side of it. And then on the side facing the viewer, you'll project something, and then that something looks as if it's floating in front of or above or next to whatever's past the mirror. So what they did with Pinball 2000 is they took a pinball game with a conventional pinball playfield that has a physical ball and physical targets and all that kind of fun stuff. And then the glass that you normally look through is a half silvered mirror. And then above it, the head, the top of the pinball machine, which is normally where you have just your scores and maybe some artwork, it was a little deeper and a little taller because it housed a monitor. And that monitor was pointed down onto the glass. So what they would do is then they would display things in the monitor that you would see overlay the playfield, so now the playfield could change as you played the game. And what they would do with that is they would have, since the playfield itself is not changeable on the fly, they would overlay things to over targets and shots in the playfield, so that now it was more interactive. You start a mode, and now you're shooting, in the case of like Star Wars Episode 1, which was the first Pinball 2000, you're shooting at a spaceship. Or in this mode, you're trying to hit a thing that makes Jar Jar kind of move around. No Jar Jar comments. So that was Pinball 2000. That was their last gasp. We're going to do something new. We're going to take a risk, and we're going to try to revive pinball for the company.
And did it work?
No.
No.
So they had two games. Star Wars Episode 1.
Yeah, they had that one strike against them, that it was Episode 1.
Yeah. Which I guess at the time, I remember the frenzy. I mean, that was a win because it didn't matter that it was what it was. It was Star Wars. Everybody was crazy for it.
Right.
And then they did a follow-up on Attack from Mars called Revenge from Mars, which is actually a pretty fun game. And I like Episode 1. I've got an Episode 1.
Right.
But then that was it. literally, if you listen to the interviews, folks come in one day and they all met in the break room or wherever it was, and they shut it down, and people were taking as much stuff as they could and shove it in their cars.
Now, because I've watched a couple of pinball documentaries. Is there a documentary about Pinball 2000?
I'm not gonna say yes or no because it wouldn't surprise me if somebody has put together something out on YouTube. I don't know of one specifically.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's not Special When Lit.
No, it's not special. I've seen bits and pieces. I see that on Pluto all the time.
Yeah.
They've actually got a documentary channel. Yeah, they've got a documentary channel. And they'll every once in a while you'll see Special When Lit and other. Yeah.
You are getting some of that sweet Pluto money. I could tell.
I wish.
So next question, or something to talk about.
Okay.
At one point in this country, pinball was illegal.
Yep.
And can you speak a little bit about game of chance versus game of skill?
So there is there was a switchover with a game called Humpty Dumpty where flippers were added to the game. And that is kind of generally accepted as the point of making it a game of skill because you had some additional control over the ball. Prior to that, it was you could launch the ball into the playfield, and the game was at that time was what we generically call a bingo, and you had what you know what a bingo card looks like, right, JP?
Right.
So you had something that looked like a bingo card on the back glass of the machine. So like if you're standing in front of the machine and you look down through the glass where the ball is, that's the playfield. If you look straight ahead, that is the head of the machine or the back box. There's a couple different names for it. And the artwork that you see when you stare straight ahead is old school. It was silk screen on the back of glass. So that's been called just generically accepted as the back glass. Even today when it's not even glass, the people still tend to call it the back glass. So in the head and the back glass, you had sort of a bingo card looking thing. And the more money you put into the machine, the more lines you could have a chance to win. So like you had kind of like a slot machine, I guess. Have you seen a multi-line slot machine?
Yeah.
JP? So the more money you put in, you can do like one row horizontal, or you can start doing cross rows, and the same thing here. You put in your money, you determine how many lines you were going to, I'm not a big expert on these. I'm kind of, so may not be 100% right, but you're increasing your odds because you're adding lines, more chances to win. Then you start shooting balls into the playfield, and then think of it at that point kind of like the Plinko game on The Price is Right.
Right.
You know, you've got all these little pins and things in the playfield as the game advanced that would be used to move the ball around, and eventually it's going to settle in a hole in the playfield. And the idea is try to get the balls, you know, you can nudge the machine. That's about all you can do. You don't have a flipper at the bottom of the playfield to capture the ball and try to knock it back up into play.
Right.
So that's your game of chance. And it was gambling.
Yeah.
And that's why it ended up illegal in a lot of cities.
And so, like, and this got cracked down on pretty hard, especially in New York, Chicago, areas like that.
Yep.
Like, go ahead.
I say it's really easy to find pictures online of just stacks of machines being sledgehammered by, you know, local police departments.
And then they would dump them in the river, right?
Oh, would they?
Yeah, that's
something about that doesn't surprise me about, you know, maybe 40s, 50s era Chicago or New York.
Yeah. And so now you talked about Humpty Dumpty. That was what, around, was that in the 40s? That was 44 maybe? I was going to say early 50s, but I mean, it's not something that I can Google real quick through the magic of technology. But the point is, while you're looking that up, is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but once Humpty Dumpty came out and you actually had flippers, pinball was still illegal in a lot of areas because there was that whole stigma that it was a game of chance,
Yep.
and not skill.
October 1947. So
Yeah.
you were closer than I was. I was thinking it was mid-50s.
Yeah. So in the midst of World War II, we're debating on whether pinball is a game of chance or a
Yes.
game of skill.
Exactly. And then it seems like every few years, some small city somewhere, there's a story. I mean, I've seen it as recently as within the past couple years. Some small city finally clears off their books a law that made pinball illegal.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's still out there.
So then my next question for you to expound upon should be pretty easy. I want you to explain. So a lot of pinball machines have the multi-ball option. You hit the multi-ball and you've got up to, I'm thinking 4, 5 balls at once.
It depends on the game. Some games will do a 2-ball multi-ball and a 3-ball multi-ball, or there's Apollo 13, which will do a 13-ball multi-ball.
Oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
So okay, now the shooter ball, that's what I'm going to call it, probably not the right term, that you start with. What is that made
Yep.
of?
It's steel. It's carbon steel.
It's
an
carbon
inch,
steel.
Yeah, it's an inch and an eighth. It's literally a ball bearing.
So when you're playing with that ball, now when you hit multi-ball, are they all steel?
Yep, it's all the same balls.
They're all the same balls.
Yep.
So there's no
Well, there-
chance that they put ceramic balls in there to move differently?
So there's one game, Twilight Zone, that's got a ball called the Power Ball, and that's a ceramic ball. So it's lighter than it's the same diameter, but it's lighter than its steel equivalent ball.
Right.
And so now the game plays different because
Right.
the physics change.
Right. Which is fascinating to me.
Yeah. Now, and what people like to do is they'll take that ball and they'll substitute it in. I mean, that's even kind of a trick in tournaments. I don't think I've ever heard of it happening in like an IFPA tournament or once you kind of get to the big leagues, but I've heard of it definitely in local tournaments where somebody will substitute a Powerball into a machine, any other machine, and then just to kind of add a little difficulty and excitement for the players.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, last pinball question.
Okay.
What's so special about the Addams Family pinball machine?
Oh man. So because that's like my favorite machine, right?
Well,
Is that
I
what
mean,
you're asking, or just in
it's
general?
your personal favorite machine, I know. But
I love that
also,
machine.
But also, I mean, it's touted as one of the best modern era pinball machines, correct?
It's arguable, but if because there's lovers and haters of everything.
Right.
But
Believe
Adams
me, I know.
Yeah. Adams, it seems to be universally liked as far as I know, and the people that I run with. Adams was an interesting game. So it came out in concert with the licenses, not on the classic Addams Family, the black and white Addams Family, like we were talking about earlier. It came out in the was it Angelica Houston, Raul Julia time frame during the Addams Family movies.
Right. Don't forget
So-
Christina Ricci.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Christopher Lloyd.
Oh, that's true, Christopher Lloyd.
Yep. Who was Pugsley? Pugsley, he never went. Pugsley didn't go anywhere in that one.
He's done
Poor
nothing.
Pugsley.
The guy
He's
was
done
in.
nothing.
He was in 2 very successful movies. He's a nobody. He's done nothing.
What can I do to top this? Right, he was done. So that game, one of the reasons I've heard interviews with designers on that game, and they were trying to decide if they were going to, if the theme was something that would resonate with the public at the time. Because you don't know if the movie is going to do well. I mean, there's tons of pinball machines
Right.
that are actually awesome playing games that are tied to a property, an IP that went nowhere.
Like Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd is one. There's a game called Roller Games.
Yep.
It's an awesome pinball, but it's tied to a TV series that went absolutely nowhere. But so Addams Family, one of the things that they did was they went out in the street and would go up to the public and start to hum the theme of the Addams Family and get up to the finger snap part, and everybody they come across could start humming along, and when it got to the finger snap, do the finger snap. And they're like, okay, so this is still relevant with a pretty wide swath of just the general person out there that's still frequenting places where pinball machines are. So they went on and decided to do the game. The game is designed by a pretty highly regarded designer by the name of Pat Lawler. He was a primary designer on the game. And when you look at the game by modern standards, it doesn't have all the 1,400 ramps and special kind of toys, but the soundtrack, the gameplay, the depth of the game, the light show that it puts on, man, that game is the total package.
Yeah, it's really good. I do like the Addams Family pinball.
It is just it ticks all the boxes.
And I think it was pretty widely sold at a time when pinball sales were starting to dwindle a bit, right?
It was, and in fact, it is to this day it is the highest. It's got the highest production number of any pinball game. It's like 20 or 22,000 units.
Yeah,
and it's kind of funny, that game is to me the pinball equivalent of a Pac-Man.
Yeah,
they made a blue million Pac-Man.
Yeah.
But they still bring money because everybody that wants a game in their basement, no matter, they know Pac-Man, they know Galaga.
Yeah.
So they're in demand. And then Addams, for that same reason, everybody that played pinball, they tend to remember Addams Family. Those machines are in demand. And I hardly ever in the collector community see an Addams Family trade hands. When people get them, they hold on to them.
Yeah. I remember when I was going to Tennessee Tech University, and this would have been 93. We had one in our student union center.
Oh, okay.
Addams Family. Yep. And we also had. No, that's the only one I remember. I want to say no, that was a different school. That was at MTSU. We had a Jurassic Park. Was it Jurassic Park? Maybe.
Jurassic Park's a good game.
Yeah.
Did you have any video games?
At school, or do I own any video games?
Oh, well, I mean, did you have any at school, or was there any games around town?
Oh, well, I mean, growing
that
up,
you just kind of.
I grew up in the heyday of
Yeah, so did I.
The arcades and stuff. But once I got to college, I think and there might have been a Centipede game, maybe, and maybe Miss Pac-Man for sure. There was a Miss Pac-Man game. I remember
a coworker that of mine. His favorite arcade game is Kung Fu Master.
Yeah,
and Kung Fu Master is a decent game, and it's maybe an upper C, lower B type title video game. But for him, that was the game that was at his student union.
Yeah. And
he just, so that's the game that had a place in his heart.
Yeah. Yeah. I played a lot of, what's it, Choplifter?
Yep. Oh, Choplifter's a great game.
Yeah.
I played a lot of that on the Commodore 64.
Because that was I remember the arcade version was in the Walmart in my hometown, along with Centipede and a variation of Pac-Man. Though I remember Super Pac-Man. I remember playing that at like a Humpty Dumpty Golf that was in my hometown.
What's a Humpty Dumpty Golf?
Putt-putt golf.
Oh, okay. A mini golf. Okay.
Yeah, mini
gotcha.
golf. Yep. Well, I told you that I would only talk to you like 20 minutes. It's almost been an hour. And I feel terrible because it's late.
That's all right.
We're in different time zones. But before you go, please tell me about collecting Twinkies.
Well, first of all, you should feel terrible. Second of all, I really appreciate you having me on, and I've had fun. And don't worry about the time. It's all good.
Just so you know, it doesn't end with this conversation because I'm going to go back and find when you guys have been on the show and include that on this.
Oh, okay. Well, cool.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't recall that you had called us, and I recall sitting down with you many years ago at Louisville Arcade Expo, and maybe were you doing the radio show at that time?
I think we were. I think we were doing the radio show at that time.
Yeah, you interviewed us on our gear because I mean you traveled into town and we were set up there, and then you took the audio file and it went off into the ether, and then you've been on our show several times there in Louisville, and man, we missed you all. It's I know it's difficult.
Yeah, I've missed it too, and I think back. I mean, I can't believe that was 2 years ago, the last time that I went. But I promise, if we're back to normal.
Well, I can't imagine that we won't be back to normal.
But that's
yeah.
But I will be there. I will definitely make the 2021 Louisville Arcade Expo.
Oh, that would be great. Like I said, man, I know Adam with the young one. It's difficult to get away, I'm sure, and whatever it is you do, but
yeah,
we do. We missed you guys.
Yeah.
So. All right, so the collecting story, and this all kind of actually circles back to your Pinball 2000 in the Star Wars Episode 1, and then in that time frame, I was collecting toys, and I was collecting some classic toys. There was a few pieces of the Star Wars stuff, the original Kenner Star Wars stuff. Very few pieces that I had let go of. And I'd gone out and I was getting those couple things back and adding some other classic pieces. And I was also in that time period, this was, in through the 90s, I was collecting, and this would have been, I guess, before. When did Episode 1 come out? Was that actually 99?
99, yep.
Okay. So in 97 or 8, was that when they had the Power of the Force stuff? I think Kenner.
Yeah, like 96, 97, they started redoing the Power of the Force. Yep.
So I was collecting those. And as I'm sure your listeners can tell, and I'm sure you can attest to, having known me for several years, I kind of get detail oriented in things, and when I do it, I'm going to do it. So, and Josh will love this. So I was collecting the figures, and I had every card variation that I could get a hold of, and we were trading this info on like Usenet groups, because this was the infancy of like web-based forums. So
BBSs.
Well,
just after BBSs.
It was just after BBSs. So you'd have like an email ring, and you'd send an email, and then some central service would combine all that and then blast it all out at a given time in the day. And then it would take a day to get your answers back, because then somebody would answer you, and that would get into the next ball of responses that would come back the next day. And floating around in that area was, the variation lists and all that stuff. So the hunt was on, and I had all the card variations that I could find, all the figure variations, Han Solo in Hoth gear with his hand open and his hand closed, and do you know about the whole long lightsaber, short lightsaber thing? Mm-hmm. And I had the longs and the shorts, and I had shorts with long trays. I had all that stuff. The Boba Fett with the 14 dots. I had it all. Too much of it. So that expands, and where this expanded to is like I think it was Frito-Lay. You'd get potato chips, and you turn in proofs of purchase. You could send it off and get special figures. Right. Well, I'm not a big potato chip person, so one night I'm like calling my neighbor's son over and like, "Hey, do you want some potato chips?" "Oh, sure, come over." And I'm at home cutting open bags of potato chips ever so gently, because I saved the bag as part of the collection.
Yep.
And I had full cereal boxes. I can't remember who does Fruit Loops.
General Mills.
Is it General Mills?
I think so.
So there was a series of like Lucky Charms and Fruit Loops and a couple, and it was like they were themed, and it all kind of tied into the Episode 1 stuff, and it was all grew out of these Power of the Force figures and all that stuff. in the middle of all that as well was, I think, Coke, or was it Coke or Pepsi? One of the two. They did cans,
Yes.
So I go get the cans.
Uh-huh.
Well, this is all in. I had a bedroom in my old house, and this collection is, it's all housed in there. I had stuff. I had shelves up. The whole room was just. You walked in it, and you were surrounded, floor to ceiling, 365 degrees, by toys.
Oh, wow.
Tonka trucks, Micro Machines, classic Star Wars, new Star Wars. And then, I had like the rows of cereal boxes and everything.
Right.
All right. So every once in a while, stuff would get moved, but for the most part, it sat. So fast forward to the time when I'm packing the house up and I'm going to move. And I had taken a selection of these 6-packs, and they were in the top of a closet, still down in like a Walmart plastic bag.
Right.
And what I discovered was that the soda had eaten through the aluminum. And once one got a hole in it, and that soda would get on the can next to it, it would eat that can from both sides, inside and outside. And I have to my horror, I pulled stuff down out of the top of this closet, and I am looking at several Walmart bags full of soda.
I'm surprised the ants didn't find that.
Oh, I have no idea. So now I'm in it.
Yeah.
Because it's eaten through the aluminum, and the Walmart bag, this thin little plastic bag, is holding, I don't know how much of this.
Yeah.
And I've got several bags of it, and I don't know what to do because I'm afraid if I move it, it's all going to go everywhere.
So what did you do with it?
Well, first of all, I questioned why I kept this stuff.
Secondly, you were like, is there a way to salvage the cans?
Yeah. Then I learned my lesson. I contemplated the lesson in life there, which is if I ever were to collect anything in a soda can, I need to drain the can.
Yep.
None of that resolved my issue. So I cleaned out everything in the closet around it, almost as if it was like a landmine. And I planned to pass to outside. Now, what I should have done looking back is I brought the trash can into the bedroom. But I gingerly managed to carry that bag of aluminum cans and soda outside and drop it into a trash can. And how I didn't end up scattering that all over my house, I have no idea.
Adam has a very similar story. Same movie promotion, same cans of soda, did not drain the cans. And when the ants found them is when he discovered that they had actually popped open. Like the pressure had caused a minor explosion of cans.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Did he have them like stored low or like high in a closet?
I don't know. And I'm sure temperature had a lot to do with that too. Like if it was maybe in a closet that got hot, then maybe the cans got too hot and in the summer. I don't know. I'll get him. I'll hook you guys up and you can swap this more story.
Well, mine didn't explode. They just leaked.
Yeah. I think what he said is they exploded. But he found them because the ants found them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I blame Jar Jar Binks because I know he had to be one of those cans.
Do you recall the first time I met Josh face to face? I felt like I needed a shower afterwards, but that's Josh.
I don't know what that means.
You've heard Josh on your shows, right? It gets rough.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, yeah.
Many people in the neighborhood, as I've walked my dog, have thought I was insane because I'm listening to your shows when Josh guest stars, guest host, sits in, whatever you want to call it, and I'm doubled over laughing.
Yeah, he's the best. I love to get him worked up.
That's a word.
Ask him about Star Wars. Ask him about The Last Jedi.
But I met him at Louisville. He came to Louisville with you one year, and I mentioned that I had this massive collection of Power of the Force toys,
Yeah.
and he just gave me that. I'm so sorry. look.
Yeah. He
He
deflated
knew.
that bubble.
He knew.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, hold on to them long enough, and eventually they will be worth something.
They're gone.
Yeah.
I've been
that
going.
weekend.
No, they survived a few more years, and I have been going through kind of to circle around on the whole collecting thing. I've been kind of going through as I can the last couple years through collections I've amassed, and just made the hard call of what am I really going to do with this?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've been there, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I have never. There have been like periods where I've collected a few things, but I've never amassed a great deal of things that I had to purge. Outside of CDs,
You got smart and got out sooner.
Yeah. Well, and I always like, can I sell this fast or turn it around for a quick buck? I've got a few things. I've got a few action figures. I got some collectible like DVD sets, Blu-ray sets that I wouldn't get rid of, that I want to hold on to. Albums. I have some vinyl albums.
I've got a lot. I've got a fair number of laser discs that I'm holding on to.
I have 3 laser discs. I have Batman, 1989's Batman, the first Mission Impossible, and JFK on laser disc.
The Batman I get. The rest of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mission Impossible. Oh, I loved Mission Impossible when it first came out. And that was like right in the prime time of Laserdisc. And and then JFK, I think I found like at a thrift store, and I was like, holy crap, this is a Laserdisc of JFK. I got to buy it for $3.
They'll end up in the albums all the time. I'm looking to see if I have. I've got a couple Blade Runners for some reason. I've got Blazing Saddles. I don't believe I have Batman.
Yeah.
Oh no, I've got Batman Forever.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we can't have all the winners, JP.
They all can't be 1989 Batman.
Yeah. But I have gone through and I have said, what am I going to do with this? And I have sold off collections en masse. I had a slot car collection, sold that. The Star Wars stuff, found a home in California of all places. A lady bought it from me, and I packed it on a pallet that ended up being 6 foot tall on a 4x4 pallet, and she shipped it all the way to California.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Big Star Wars fan.
I really don't care what she did with them at that point.
It's like an instant collection.
Yeah, instant collection.
You did all the legwork for her.
Yeah, and I carted it around and stored it since the 90s. So,
well, we've been going over an hour, and you have work from home tomorrow.
I know.
So
yes,
I don't want to keep
Betty.
you up too late. But I do appreciate you coming on. And look, I don't know how long we're going to be working from home, how long we're going to be stuck at home. Maybe very soon we do you and Whitney together.
Okay, we can try to work that out.
Yeah, and well, I mean, I can call both of you and bring the calls in.
Oh, we could do it that way, or we can try to line up with we record our show like you do, face to face.
Yeah.
So maybe we can try to line up a recording session where maybe we're all together, and
well, as long as you're 6 feet apart,
we're all it's escaping me now. I'm gonna destroy it at midnight my time, but there's a meme running around right now, and it's the like the symbol for the state of Kentucky, like a couple guys, they're shaking hands, and it's something like Kentucky working together but 6 feet apart is the way it's kind of been mutated now, and someone took that, I think it's on the state flag, and they separated them.
That's pretty funny.
Anyway.
Well, yeah, so I think we've got at least a couple of more weeks of this, so we'll definitely circle back around and do this again.
Nope, that'd be great.
All right.
Well, thank you again for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
On my favorite table, he can't beat my best. His disciples needed him, and he just does the rest. He's not crazy, clever fingers, never seen him fall. That deaf, dumb, and blind kid sure plays a mean pinball.
So I went through and I tried to find where Brent and Whitney had been on the show with us at the same time. and I couldn't. There's one that I think was on their show that was actually recorded at one of the expos. So I don't really have like an all four of us episode to tag onto this. But what I do have is we did our own video game podcast for about a year, maybe 2 years. It was called 8-Bit Adam. And I'm going to tag an episode of 8-Bit Adam onto this because we haven't done 8-Bit Adam yet. So here's a classic episode of 8-Bit Adam featuring Adam, myself, and Josh. Enjoy.
Have you experienced the awesome power of the Panasonic Rio 3DO system?
Nice graphics. I'd like to get my hands on that game. Who are you to be ordinary?
Rated M for mature.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of 8-Bit Adam, a very special episode this week. We have some special guests. It's not just me this time. Aren't you excited about that? Because
I'm excited.
See, we have JP, as you've heard, and Josh are joining me. JP from I'm Not Famous, and of course, the Adam and JP Show, and Josh from Collection Connection. How you guys doing?
Oh, fantastic.
Nice.
Amazing.
Good to
We
know.
just did Collection Connection.
We did. We're still fresh off of the...
So this week's Collection
we
Connection
done
will be
that.
the episode we just recorded.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking the podcast of Adam and JP this week will be the three of us as well.
Yeah.
Awesome, fun times. Well,
I think it's fun to do roundtable. What
Yeah,
do you
round
think?
table is
like
fun.
sometimes you can get some things out there that you might not get otherwise.
You can get stuff off your chest.
exactly. It's a
Right.
little more like therapy. But yes, always
We're
follow
cleaning
us.
up from toy cleanup.
Oh, yeah. It's like Christmas morning. But before we get it started,
There is a huge toy malfunction in this week's Collection Connection.
yeah, listen to Collection Connection for that toy malfunction. It was pretty good. If you are familiar with squishies or kind of bendies or twisty, kind of almost Stretch Armstrong type toys, listen to Collection Connection. We get gifts from Josh, like we usually do sometimes on the show. And JP kind of got too excited about his and may have had an eruption.
I got real excited.
But yeah, always follow us on Twitter at Adam and JP, and of course go to adamandjp.com to find out all the other great shows we've talked about so far. But this week it's kind of a fun focus. I've talked about many times on the Adam and JP show and 8-Bit Adam. I've talked about my love and desire for the game of Hearthstone. And this week we're going to talk about Hearthstone from top to bottom.
Yeah, and now there are three people that sat at this table.
Yes, I'm so excited.
That all have a love and affection for
Yes,
Hearthstone.
told you so moment. I'm just so glad.
I'm so sorry I doubted you guys.
I'm so glad.
I'm
you
so
told-
sorry.
So yeah, Josh and I have played for a while, and finally JP, after many weeks of reluctant hesitation.
All that negative stuff I said, oh, it's a card. Let's play real cards.
It's fun, right? It's
Yeah,
really
I think
good.
I would
it
rather
back,
play this
right?
than poker.
And so, I tried to tell you, do you understand the appeal 10 years ago when I played the Versus game? Imagine this, but with Marvel and DC heroes. The same
Yeah.
idea, same
Remember
concept.
seeing me play this while we were in line and at Disney?
That's
and
true.
You were like, what is the deal here?
Yeah, really? Is that?
Yeah, but how much would you have loved
We're
to
waiting
have
on
been-
Everest Expedition, and he's just over there. Oh, man, watch what I'm about to do to this guy.
Yeah,
And that was just a week ago.
Yeah.
But had
Things change so much in a week.
But had you had yours and been able to attack people while you were waiting in the long line,
Right.
wouldn't you have enjoyed that?
If I'd had my laptop with me.
Yeah, that guy.
Or stolen iPad?
But yeah, we talked about it many times. We'll give another refresher here. Hearthstone is as of right now, it's not a physical release. It's a downloadable only on your PC or your mobile device or a tablet of any sorts. But it's
And there's actual cards.
well,
It's a real card game.
Is it a
right?
real card? I don't think so.
I thought you
yet.
said it was.
No, not yet. And,
okay.
and they
There
don't
are
have.
Warcraft cards, but
Right.
it does not correlate with this.
Yeah, there are World of Warcraft cards, but no Hearthstone cards. Yeah, I mean,
You know it's coming.
maybe so. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, I would almost say not, and let
Yeah.
me tell you why. Because part of the appeal of this, part of the thing that is a downfall for playing card games is the rules and enforcing the rules.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this enforces it for them.
That's true. That's
exactly.
true.
So, there would be no arguing. One of the things I could see that come up in Hearthstone is, spell damage sometimes equates to abilities from, say, a rogue or a warrior. Well, in the game, if you threw something that had spell damage on it and then tried to play that card and tried to tell me that it buffed it,
Right.
I would tell you were crazy.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah,
exactly,
that's true.
This game does it for you.
Enforces those rules.
It enforces the rules, and you never question it because it is legitimate. So,
Mm-hmm. Right.
anyway, I'm just saying, when you say it's coming,
Yeah,
it might.
I don't-
But, man, in this form right here where I don't have to handle any cards and I can build my decks and
It's
Yeah.
true. I think the
Anyway,
the
there's an
community is
appeal.
so big now for the digital form. They may do it, but I don't know. I don't see it being so successful. We'll see though, for sure. I mean, with a digital download, you can buff things, nerf cards. You can always change it as it goes. With an actual physical release, the word has to spread.
Yeah.
Hey, you can't use that. Hey,
Right,
stop
and you
it.
would
know
have
what
to
I mean?
have somebody that if you could literally get in an argument with somebody about whether you could play a certain cards
Exactly.
together. or
Yeah.
whatever,
So
you
this
know?
is a much safer way. So it may happen in the future, but I think they're smart by doing this. For the first time, I agree with a digital release.
I do too.
It's the perfect time for
Definitely.
it. But yeah, like I said, it's a trading card game in digital form based on the World of Warcraft characters.
Right.
And what'll keep you coming back is one of the appeals to buying a card game like this is getting packs of cards and opening them.
Exactly.
And then when you do that, you are attaining those cards. And I think one of the appeals and the things that will continue to drive this is going to be, I don't want to lose all those cards I've attained. You know
Right,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Whether I've bought them or whether I've just earned them, it doesn't matter. I don't want to lose those cards that I gained. So
Right,
anyway, I
yeah.
think that there are things that keep you. Blizzard has definitely figured out a way to keep people involved in their games.
Oh,
Right.
for sure. Yeah, they're smart about
And
that.
Hearthstone is no different.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
Anyway, go ahead.
No, we're going to talk about the general talk of Hearthstone, maybe some things coming up in the future, but we're also going to have JP in the background playing a little bit. So you may hear
I'm
that
pretty
right
excited
now.
about this week's
Yeah.
episode.
You may hear that right now. And so, yeah, in the past week you started playing, JP. What is
Right.
first off, what did you think? What made you not want to play Hearthstone? And whenever you finally did play it, what made you want to keep playing it? Tell me
I
those
didn't
two
think it
things.
was fun,
Right, before you played it. Yeah.
but it is fun.
So for someone that listens to this and likes old retro games or doesn't want to jump into like a digital trading card game, kind of sell them for a week ago you were a naysayer on it, and now thankfully you're not.
If you like chess
Mm-hmm.
or Risk
Yeah.
or any of those games where you really have to think
Yeah.
to play it, and there's a lot of strategy behind it. If you're a fan of strategic games,
Yeah.
you're gonna love Hearthstone.
If you're a thinker,
Yeah.
then you will if you like pondering things and really putting that puzzle together, you're gonna even puzzle games. I would dare to say if you're a fan of puzzle games, you'll like this because
Right.
it's combinations. You have to do it the right way, and if you don't, it doesn't work.
Then there's a lot. There's actually playing the game, and then there's building your decks, and then
Right.
there's like you're saying, you build up your gold and you buy packs and what you get in your pack, and then go through and reorganize your deck.
Right.
I mean, yeah. Dungeons and Dragons. What was the card game that was popular in the 90s? Still popular. Spellfire.
Right.
Yeah,
And
all
of course
those
Magic the Gathering still
Magic
going
the
strong.
Gathering. Yeah.
And Magic is still
going
strong. They
strong.
still have tournaments, right?
Right.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's still pro players for that.
all those games.
Yeah.
Pokemon. Maybe.
It's still it's still
Yeah,
thinking.
it's
Yu-Gi-Oh is even still going strong.
Right.
Yeah. So it's good to see that this this is the new way. I don't know if this is gonna. Do you think the success, the major success, the money that Blizzard's bringing in from Hearthstone, do you think it's gonna kind of hurt physical card releases? I mean, do you think Magic?
I think
may
that
do this
it's
soon?
going
I
to be
mean,
it's going to be almost identical to the gaming world. The gaming world is going to be identical to like even the music world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Digital
Yeah.
hurt physical.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I definitely think it's going to be no different here. I think that if I can keep all my cards. See, here's the thing. Like when I look and I have cards here, I could have, let's say that I have only one of one type card. Well, I can use one of that type card in every one of my decks and not have to go pull it out of a deck to stick it in
Exactly.
a different deck. If I had physical copies of of this game that I play, if I had physical copies, I would have to constantly pull from one deck to keep in my other deck.
Right.
Well, I don't have to do that here. And I don't have to keep up with decks. And I don't have to keep up with driving somewhere to do it. I can get on my internet at home and play my friends. I can play strangers. I can challenge myself. The video game makers are involved with me. They give me daily quests to do. It's really, there is a lot of, but yes, to answer the question, absolutely this will hurt the sale of cards, but it's just the way that the future's going to go.
Oh, yeah.
Now, here's what they could do if they wanted to keep selling the cards. What if you, in those card packs, what if every one of them came with a special card that you could not get within the game? You had to type in a code to be able to get that. You had to buy
That's
the
true, yeah.
physical ones to be able to type in a code to get it on the
that's
actual.
true. Almost a Skylanders kind of appeal to it.
I would do it
instead of a figure.
If
yeah.
somebody told you that you could buy a pack of cards, and that pack of cards is going to have one extra card that you can't physically get here
Yeah.
by creating it or crafting it or winning it or whatever.
Right.
But you knew you could type in a code and put it on there. What would you do it?
Oh, without a doubt, I would.
I would do it in a heartbeat. So there are
idea,
ways
yeah.
around it. There are ways to keep things driven if they want to. So
Yeah.
anyway,
And like I said, this will be totally general Hearthstone talk, not too in depth yet. We'll get there eventually, maybe. But I mean, we should start off by saying this is a totally, if you want it to be, a 100% free game.
it is.
You don't have to spend any money on it.
You never have to spend any money. Now there are a lot of people that spend a lot of money
Yeah.
and get multiple packs of cards, and when they do, they end up having the best of the best.
Right, yeah, you can. It's called, they call it freemium. It is free, but for a premium price. You can pay and get some things. And there are a lot of pro big-time players saying that they've spent no money on this whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like I said, JP's starting his game up, I think.
Yeah. That's what I say. Starting the game up.
So here's the quest I have for today: Rogue or Warrior victory. Win 2 games with Rogue or Warrior, you get 40 gold.
You going for
See,
that
and
one?
here's what.
So hopefully, if I'm good enough here,
By the end of the episode, you'll have that?
I'll still be 5 short.
Of
Well,
what?
if I win another, hopefully I can.
Because for every 3, you get 10 gold as well.
Yeah, that's true. So hopefully I can actually in the span of this episode, win the quest,
Open
and open a pack.
And
Nice.
I want you to think about this too. You have some enchanting.
Right, I've got 100. Explain the dust.
Oh, yeah, so it's arcane dust. It's, how would you describe that? It is a different form of currency for
Arcane
making and
does-
building cards. Yeah.
Yeah. It's you can disenchant things in the World of Warcraft, the actual video game World of Warcraft. You can disenchant things and turn them into items that you can use to create other things. Well, they just transferred that over into this realm of the card game. So they allow you to disenchant cards so that you can create other cards.
Right.
So they just really. This really goes so hand in hand with Warcraft. If you were ever a Warcraft fan, this
which I didn't
will-
get into.
Right, that's
Yeah.
and you can also say that. Like, you can play 0 minutes of Warcraft and still enjoy it, but it's got a lot of hidden features for fans of the Warcraft series.
Right. And here's what's funny is I didn't realize, but depending on where you are, like in your quest and how that you do them and what order that you do them, like yours is win 2 games. I've got one that's called Priest or Warlock Dominance, and I would get 60 gold for winning 5 games with that character. So mine's different than yours. Do you?
Because
have-
it's where we are in the
because
in the
it's where
game.
we are in the game right now. So Adam, do you have a completely different quest at the moment?
Yeah, right now I've got a Druid or Hunter victory, win 2 of those, a Major Shaman victory, win 2 of those, or Paladin or Warrior Dominance. If you win 5 games with Paladin or Warrior, you get 60 gold.
And one of the things to point out is if you have 2 that stack, let's say that if you don't play for a couple of days and you end up having 3 quests, one of yours may say Priest or Warlock Dominance, where you win 5 games and you get 60 gold. Well, you may have another one that says, let's say, Hunter and Priest, if you win 2 games. So if you stack those, once you win those 5 games, first off, once you win the 2 games, you end up getting like 40 gold.
Right.
Generally, if it's a 2-game win that you have to win, you get 40 gold. If it's 5 games, you get 60. But what's cool is that if you end up stacking those like that, you play 5 games, and then after those 5 games, if you win them all, you will have literally 100 gold.
Right, yeah.
So there are ways to even stack the quest.
Oh, yeah.
So there's tons of really
lot
cool
of-
things
yeah, a lot
and
of strategy.
little tricks and strategies that
Yeah.
you can do in this game.
Which the problem for me is I've been playing a lot of ranked recently, trying to get my rank up the ladder, and I kind of stick with one deck because that's what I'm building on, working on, trying to perfect that. So I haven't been getting so many coins recently. That's what I've got to stop doing because I've got to stop that. And if I don't want to lose my rank, I should go play unranked, but then I want to keep getting my rank up, but then I could lose because it's not such a good deck. I mean, you could get a great rank going. I maxed out at 12 last month. And if I had one of my decks that isn't so great played against a rank 12 guy, wouldn't be pretty.
Right,
wouldn't be pretty
right.
at all. Yeah. So, but I should play more unranked to get more coins because I haven't gotten a new quest in days. I think it's been a while. Yeah,
Really?
it's been a while. I should work on that more.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so before I start, I've got 100 dust, so I'm going to actually make a card before we
Oh,
start.
Okay, you wanna-
which one are you going to make?
I'm going to make the knife juggler.
Oh, the knife
Oh.
jug.
Can you go ahead and tell us
Yeah.
what that knife
Tell us
juggler
what the
is?
card
Because
reads.
I've had this played on me multiple times, and truthfully, if it's behind something with taunt, it can kill you very fast.
Yeah. After you summon a minion, deal 1 damage to a random enemy.
Right.
And he throws knives.
Yeah,
Right.
it sounds innocent, but if you have a rush deck or some kind of like a Murloc deck or any kind of zoo deck where you have multiple low drop minions coming on the board, and like Josh said, if the knife juggler is behind someone with taunt where you can't be touched, that is very deadly.
Is a deadly, deadly card.
All right, I have him now.
There you go.
So
Now I'm going to go in and
throw him in your deck.
I'm going to put him in my warrior deck.
There you go.
Because I'm going to play
Warrior?
with the warrior.
Or hunter.
Well, the quest for today is with Warrior or Rogue.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to put him in the Rogue.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, what's crazy, one of the things that we've talked about before is that when someone used a knife juggler on us recently, and if they had that, what is the hunter card that throws out a hound?
Release the Hounds? Is it
Release the Hounds.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll do that. Hopefully,
Yeah.
I'll put him in that deck and play
So
with that,
if you
too.
do that, then you immediately do 3 more damage,
Yeah.
or
however many,
4, or
could be
how
4,
many?
5, 6, yeah.
So you really do some damage. It's pretty crazy. So
Yeah.
you just created a card.
Yep.
And once you create that card, it depletes that dust.
Yep.
And then the more you disenchant, the more dust you'll be able to get, and the more cards you'll be able to create.
Right. So now I'm going to start with the Warrior.
So you're doing a warrior.
Nice. Yeah, so
battle.
what kind of classes you guys? What kind of decks do you build? What kind of stuff do you play with?
The Hunter is what I like the most.
Hunter is your thing.
Okay, and as far as strength for me,
Mm-hmm.
I can play multiple different ones. I can do pretty good with my shaman. My priest is the one I enjoy playing the most with.
That's fun.
And one of the reasons why I think a priest is so hard to kill sometimes, and it totally depends because the type of deck, and I heard on when you spoke with Karma, who plays on Twitch TV, when I heard you speaking with her, she said how important it is to know the meta.
Right, yes.
And can you go a little bit into the meta?
Yeah, the meta changes as cards are changed and buffed up or nerfed. The meta is kind of the standard philosophy of the game. So as of right now, there's certain decks that in the meta are the better decks that maybe a month or two ago they weren't so good. But because these cards have changed, small changes and instances happen where it'll change the whole outcome of a game. So the meta is kind of the way that the game plays. There are good decks, not so good decks, based on how much you can build. And the meta is just the overall view of the game is the meta.
Right. It's what kind of decks people are playing at the time, whether it be a zoo deck
fads
or
and trends
which a zoo deck is a form of a rush deck, right?
In a way, yeah.
And then you get into, there's so many different things when you get into how many different kind of decks that you can build. A control deck,
Right.
Like if we're going to go down through it, do you know how many different decks are there?
Oh,
names
so many.
for?
And people every day, I guess, create their own. But yeah, the top ones now, there's a handlock deck, usually like a rogue handlock.
Can you explain to me what a handlock deck
I'm not.
is?
That's Karma's thing there. I'm not so good with it. I've seen her
Okay.
play it. I've seen her wreck people.
Yeah.
Just back to back. And unless I build these decks, and that's what's cool about it. You see them and you're played against them, but unless you build it yourself and know the philosophy behind it, it's tough to really describe it.
Okay,
So,
and earlier I had actually played a game against you because I wanted to see. I took what I considered to be one of my strongest decks, which was my priest.
Yeah.
And I actually wanted to play against you, and
Yeah.
and you had created what you called a zoo deck.
the Warlock Zoo deck, which
Okay.
honestly, there's maybe the most famous streamer, one of the famous streamers of all time, definitely the most famous Hearthstone player. He was for 7 years, I believe, a Magic the Gathering professional player. He's only 22 years old right now, so do the math on that. But his name is Raynad, and he just a master and a genius behind deck building of all games. And so he's put these ideas out, and he's kind of created the Zoo deck, and people build and put their own kind of spins and takes on their own stuff of it. But he kind of that was his brainchild was the Zoo deck.
The zoo deck.
Yeah, and so I've taken that and
And
put
did
added
you
my own
just
stuff
look
to it.
up if you wanted to figure out how to build a zoo deck? How do you go about that? Do you just Google it? What
Yeah,
do you do?
there are. I don't like to do straight up. Some people they call them net decks. Some
Yeah.
people do like card for card net decks. There's no creativity behind that.
No.
But some are proven successful. But I like to see those and see the idea behind it and see what they're doing and kind of add my own take to it.
Right.
Maybe easier and more successful to just take that net deck card for card, but I like to add my own stuff to it. A little more creativity.
When you're building a deck, at least when I'm building a deck, lots of times in-game experience plays a big part of how I build my deck.
Yeah, totally.
And has that been the same with you?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, with the meta changing all that, these net decks could be on 6 months ago, and therefore 6 months ago things were different, and now cards are different. Things change. People catch on. If the Zoo deck was big 3 months ago, people may have made even better decks. There's one called the Miracle Rogue. Once again, I'm not sure what that does, but if I see that Rogue, I'm probably going to lose on my Zoo deck.
Yeah, and what's funny is even like JP earlier, I think it's cool to get together with your friends and even share, hey, here's what so-and-so, or here's what the guy I was playing did to me.
Right, yeah.
And, one of the things that I'd pointed out to him is that, there was a specific minion with taunt that it cost 6 to throw her out, but she had Divine Shield and Taunt, and she was a higher level. And I was like, man, if you ever throw this, I mean, it can be a game changer.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, there are some cards that are game changers.
Certain cards that are game changers. Now, do you think that they're ever going to look into any form of expansions? And
Yes.
how would you do an expansion on this?
Supposedly, in this month of July of 2014, we have the Curse of Naxxramas coming out.
Okay, now is that going to be special cards? Is it just going to be special? Is it going to be quest driven? What's the deal here?
Yeah, so a lot of new cards coming out. I'm not sure the exact number and how many in the name. They have released some of those, but I'm not sure what they're called, what they do, at least not off the top of my head. But yeah, Curse of Naxxramas, it's based off of an actual, like a raid instance in
it's
the
an
World of
instance
Warcraft.
inside Warcraft. Yeah, I remember playing it.
Yeah, they call it a 5-wing adventure, each wing representing the actual one of the wings of Naxxramas, like the actual thing there. So I think 30 new cards. It says gain through completing various aspects of the adventure, just questing. The first wing of the adventure will be free, while most or all the others must be purchased using gold or real money.
How cool is that?
Yeah, so that's kind of cool, huh? So you actually go through the wings of Naxxramas. Yeah.
Huh.
So 30 new cards.
So it's essentially going to be quest driven.
Right, yeah. With
so
5
you will play.
quests.
You will still continue to play people one-on-one.
Right. Yeah. Which I guess I don't know if this will be the quest driven may be actual offline. I think that may be like actual characters and new decks you're playing against.
And speaking of that, like, I mean, the quest, what all do the quests consist of? Like, I know we just mentioned that a couple of quests consist of, like, beat somebody 2 times with the priest or beat somebody 5 times with the shaman.
Right.
What are the other quests that you can do?
As far as currently right now? Or in the
currently, the things that you've been seeing in there.
From what I've seen, mostly just, like, have this many wins. And I've seen some, I think, destroy
kill
like,
this many minions,
like 100 minions. Yeah, we'll give you quite a few.
Do this much damage.
Right, that much damage. I think I've seen one summon this many minions, I believe.
Okay,
and then then just beat or this many with that class.
And so, I wonder, is that based off of your playing style?
Maybe
did they
give
you your
JP's?
How's it going, JP? We just
lost.
You lost. Oh, really?
Okay, what happened?
What's the final
explain
score?
The game for us?
What's the final score? How much health did he have left?
He was playing a druid that had 18 left.
Okay. Some druids are dirty.
Yeah, because he had a lot of the increase your shield cards.
Oh, really? Okay.
So
you were doing it.
So I would do damage, then he'd play a card, and his health would go up.
Oh, okay. Because there is a. Have you seen the?
Which, by the way, the Knife Juggler is a very nice card because that came out.
It did come out.
Yeah,
and you were able to use it.
Yeah.
Have you seen the?
Wait a minute, you were using your warrior.
Yeah, on the warrior.
And he was going
the
druid?
warrior deck. Yeah, and he was playing druid.
Okay.
Had that been your
If it had been my hunter deck, I would have taken him down.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If it had been your hunter deck, do you feel like you would have won that one? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because I had what's the card that creates the 2 imps? Or it's a female card.
And she has like a plus. It's like a 1/5, and at the end she always
she creates an imp at the end. Yeah.
But she loses health every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget the name of it, but I've
But
seen
she
it.
can create an imp at the end of every
So
turn.
I had her out there,
I
and
think
she was
she's-
creating imps, and then I played the juggler. And
I think she's a 1/5. At the end of every turn, you summon a 1/1 imp, and she loses 1 health.
Okay.
Yeah.
now I'm playing Missy Monster and a shaman.
Okay.
So
And be
Missy Monster, if you hear
one
this,
Of the things
You're out there.
one of the things that you need to always keep in mind is totems need to be dead.
Yes,
You
exactly.
need to kill totems.
Right. Yeah.
At all costs.
because that's the shaman's hero power.
Right. Yeah.
Because if you get a health totem behind a shield,
Which happens a lot.
then every time they will be healed from the damage that you are trying to do to
Mm-hmm.
them. Keep that in mind. So anyway,
Which, by the way, the warrior deck is one of my weaker decks too.
really,
Really.
Yeah, I haven't
But
done
you're
a lot of work on it.
what is the? It's between your warrior and whatever to win today.
Rogue. If I don't win with this one, I'll go to the rogue deck. 'Cause
Yeah.
I have spent some time on that.
Man,
one.
can you imagine throwing that knife juggler in with your rogue?
yeah.
And if you do a rush deck with the knife juggler and that rogue, as many cool little things. There's a thing the rogue does called a head crack, and it's a card
yeah.
that if
yeah.
you use it as a combo, it does 3 damage in the combo, and it constantly. Well, it does 3 damage anyway, but if you use it as a combo, it constantly comes back to your hand, so you can
Right.
significantly do
So
as
use
long
that
as you can
second.
play 2 cards. You can do 3
crazy.
damage every time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The druid, you said that's what you just played. Right now, it's a shaman.
Shaman.
The druids, you got to remember 2 things about druids. They have I think it's a 3-cost card called Healing Touch. That's probably what happened to you. And so those restore 8 health. And of course, you can have 2 in there. So honestly, when you're playing a druid, don't think of them as having 30 health. They've got 46 health.
That's true.
Like that.
And oddly enough, my Druid deck does not have either of those cards in
Really?
it because I want to kill them.
And that's a strong deck.
Really? Yeah.
And I've got a pretty strong deck.
You do. Wow. Yeah. The swipe is good. Swipe is one of my favorite cards for the Druid.
Missy's taking her time.
This may not be good. two swipes per deck in my Druid deck has to be.
You have to have that, and no healing touch.
No
Really?
healing touch.
Really?
But I do
okay.
have a light well.
Yeah. That's
And I have
real.
two
Okay.
light wells.
Light wells are
that I
good.
put in there.
Yeah.
And I've truly done one of the cool things about a Druid deck when I've got my. Oh,
Yes.
we just had
Yes.
explosion
Yes.
number 2.
Yes.
We just had another.
Hey, luckily I have a. Oh,
explosion.
you got it in the mouth a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah, that's all good.
What we're gonna do is this is the deal. Every podcast that is done today, I'm due for squishing a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle squishy and it exploding right on air. It's happened the past 2. It's probably going to happen if we do a third podcast.
That's great. It's not sticky. It's not sticky. It's like water.
No, it's a little warm, isn't it?
I don't think so. It'll be fine.
Let me know if your face starts melting. It's just water.
Wow.
So
Okay.
anyway, so we just had an explosion.
We did.
This is the second round that I've gotten the dynamite from Missy. She's.
Wow.
Really?
I don't think she's there. Missy Monster, you're.
Missy Monster not even.
You had
playing.
a chance to play me right
I
here
can't believe I
on.
exploded. That was my turtle too.
Yep,
Oh.
I'll give you another one.
Popped the turtle head.
I like how you threw it down in disgust.
Had a turtle poking his head out. Wait a minute. All right. So anyway,
And we're back. Where did it explode in? Which
it just
part?
exploded.
Oh, it's dripping.
It's still
water.
dripping.
It's just water. Okay. And we're back. I'm so sorry about that. I'm back.
So anyway, so we are playing Hearthstone. We're exploding turtles,
Yes, we are. It's a great time. That's how we do.
and we're
yeah.
talking.
That's how we do it here. So tell me this.
Yeah.
What is the one deck you see that you'll never make? Because honestly, I have I really believe that Hearthstone is kind of a personality test when it comes to building decks. I have a priest deck, I have a mage, I have a warlock, and I have a
All right,
warrior.
Pull it up on your iPad, which is your gaming.
Or I'm a gaming device for Hearthstone.
Okay, we have 3 different devices here.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
We have
yeah.
an iPad Mini,
Right.
a full size on iPad,
Uh-huh.
and as well as a laptop that
yeah.
JP is playing on currently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're saying soon this will come to cell phones, which I don't see how that can.
There's no way.
I don't. That's
You
what
would
they're
have
saying.
to have a very large screen like a Samsung Galaxy.
Right, yeah. Well, yeah, so I have a priest, I have a mage, a warrior, a warlock, and a druid. And I believe those, so far, I've been playing for quite a few games. I'm
Tell
sure
me
in the
your
future.
levels.
Okay, for levels, let's see here. Let me go to my main thing there. Bring that up here. Okay, so for my mage, the 22, I think I've played one game with almost every class except for Hunter. So I have a 22 mage, a 2 shaman, a 31 druid, a 2 paladin, a 31 warlock, a 1 hunter because I never touched that, 19 warrior, a 1 rogue, and a 32 priest.
Okay.
Yeah.
I truly have a deck of every kind.
Really nice.
Yeah. So what I've done is I've got a.
I
just got a level 9 paladin.
Mm-hmm.
I have a level 13 mage. I have a level 12 druid. I have a shaman that is a 23. I have a hunter that is a 13. I have a 22 about to pop 23 with my priest. I have an 11 warrior. I have a 14 warlock. Then I have a 16 rogue.
Nice.
So here's what I think. I feel like that every deck matches up specific ways with other decks.
That is
and
true.
what I mean by that is like I feel like every character and class tie up. And is that girl that you're playing? Is she?
She's not. She's not.
She's not here.
I've never.
She's not here.
She is away from AFK. She is away from.
She's away
keyboard.
from keyboard. Yep.
So what you got here is you're going to win this,
Right,
and
that's
it's
what-
going to count towards your good.
Exactly.
That's a win for you.
I
Which
feel
is-
bad.
No,
But
don't feel bad because if
Take it.
they're dumb enough to do that,
Take it.
And now I will tell you this: sometimes it's whether their Wi-Fi connection has disconnected.
That's
them
true.
Or not.
A few
Because
times I've been kicked off. Yeah.
If it kicks you off, and you go back into the game, it will allow you to join right back into the game you have. So if she just all of a sudden starts playing, it is possible you killed her.
She probably
Yep.
came back to her keyboard or reconnected and she left. Yeah.
oh yes, yeah. That's what happened.
Yeah.
She conceded. Oh, but I got 10 gold now.
Yes, you
Nice.
do.
There you go. There you go.
You got 10 gold, and if you win one more match, you
can
will
open a
be
pack,
at
right?
100, and we will open a pack of cards on the air.
Nice.
Right. I gotta. How can I win one match with
have
the
to
warrior?
win.
Okay, so
One.
JP, now you can talk for a few seconds.
Yeah.
What are the what decks do you have? off the top of your head, you know?
Hunter.
Hunter, okay. That's your main. That's your go-to.
Let's see.
And you've just
Mage
started.
is 12. Yeah, I just started this week. Mage is 12.
Nice.
Hunter is 18.
Nice.
Paladin 8. Shaman 1. Priest 6.
And I will tell
Druid
you,
5. Warrior 11. So
Nice. Okay, very nice.
there are some shaman decks out there
and Rogue 10.
that freak everybody out. There are
true,
some
yeah.
shamans out there that can whack some folks. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there. And there are some mages. When I first started, I thought mage was the weakest class. I was completely wrong.
Yeah, I thought so as well. Because that's kind of the one they give you and let you learn with. I'm like,
Yep.
it's going to be weak.
And I have watched some people use some mages.
Yeah.
And a mage can take you from 20 to 0 in one turn.
Yes.
Yeah.
The 10 cross pyroblast.
Yep.
Is one to talk about. That's taken me down a few times, and I get angry
Yeah.
because I'm going to beat this person without a doubt. No matter what they do, the next round I've gotten them dead, and they throw out a pyroblast, and I lose.
So what's some of the legendary cards that you've come up against or that you want that you like?
There you go. Yeah.
Speaking of legendary
Uh-oh.
cards.
What you got, Josh?
Now, JP spoke with us recently. He had 4 legendary cards played in one match.
Yeah, last night. That's crazy.
But prior to him having that, I had 6 played on me in one match.
Really?
And what happened was, evidently the draw was perfect because if they draw good and don't do their legendary at 1st, and they draw good at 1st and can throw like a rush deck style, and then eventually when you get into the 10 mana, they start throwing those legendaries, and there's some dirty legendaries out there.
So we should
Hey,
talk
is
about
Leroy Jenkins a legendary?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that card. I mean, I don't like it to be played against me.
Yeah.
What
but
is Leroy
It's not
Jenkins?
bad because they give you
They gives you two
welts.
minions.
Yeah.
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 It immediately,
But it does a lot of damage.
Yeah. He's I think I forgot honestly. I have to look
because
him
he's
up.
like a suicide. I mean, he's like Leroy Jenkins.
Right, yeah.
He'll do some damage to you, but at the same time, he's going to give you 2 minions.
Right.
Oh, he gives
And when you play
two
him,
minions.
it's Leroy Jenkins.
Really?
Yeah,
Have
yeah.
you got it?
No,
You
I had
had
it played
played
against
against
me.
you.
Yeah.
Oh wow. No, I've never had that played against me. What's the worst you've had played against you?
Oh, the one where, this wasn't the one where I had the 4 played against me. I think it's a legendary card. But where I had the guy down to like 2 health, and I thought I was about to win. He played the legendary card where it swaps his hero out.
Yes.
Really?
That is a warlock. That is a warlock specialty. But that one is a he has a 3. You always have a 3 attack, and you switch once you can get down to 1 health and switch out your guy, and it destroys your hero.
And he has 15.
Is his name Lord Jaxus?
Jaxus, something like
Yeah,
that.
Lord
Jack.
Oh, I've seen him honestly.
Lord Jackoff.
Yeah. Oh, come on now.
Come on. Now.
So okay, here's his name.
It's a family show.
Yeah, I just found him. His name is Lord Jaraxus. But here it is. He is 9 mana to throw this legendary card. His battle cry destroys your hero and places him with Lord Jaraxus. He has 15 health, so you can go from 1 immediately to 15.
Wow.
And then he has 3 attack every time. So regardless of what happens,
And it doesn't hurt him. It doesn't hurt him.
What cost is he?
He is 9.
Yeah.
But you can only use him with your warlock. And it says trifling gnome, your arrogance will be your undoing. So essentially he's like a demon. He
Yeah.
looks like he's got like demon wings, and
He's warlock only, huh?
he's warlock
I
only.
need
And
that
he can only
Mizzou.
do that. And what's funny, and one of the things that I've noticed is if you are playing Hearthstone, and it takes a while to kind of get used to all the different things, but there's a legendary card that is specific to each deck.
Right. Yeah.
Did you know
I didn't
that?
know. I don't think I knew that until today. Actually, when you told me.
Yeah, and
That makes
and
sense, though.
I had no clue of that. Like if you've got a druid, your special one is Cenarius, and his is choose one. Give your other minions, all your other minions, +2 and +2, which is +2 health plus +2 attack, or summon 2 2/2 treants with taunt. So you can do that, and he's a
Nice.
9-drop. He's got 8 health, and he attacks for 5.
Nice.
But if you go down through there, each one of them have it. If you're a hunter, you've got one called King Crush. And you've played Warcraft, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember King Crush in the game being a T-Rex? It's a T-Rex on here, and his name is King Crush.
I remember T-Rex though.
See, and it sounds,
I've seen that T-Rex. That's a bad thing.
He looks like a T-Rex.
He's
or
huge with big charge, right?
It's like a T-Rex or a dragon. He can't tell, but he looks straight up like a T-Rex. But he is a 9-drop, and he's got charge, and so you could immediately do 8 damage.
That's dirty. That's really dirty.
And he's got 8 health.
And what is he under? Which class is
And
that?
that's under the hunter class.
Okay,
so
yeah.
With each one of those having one, then you move on, of course, to the mage. And the mage has a...
an Archmage, Antonite.
Yeah. And what does he got? Whenever you cast a spell, you put a fireball into your hand. And the fireball, we know, does 6 damage.
Wow.
So this may be the most powerful known.
And it could be because if you have spell damage, buffs on there, you could have like an 8 or 9 damage, honestly.
Right.
Yeah.
So whenever you cast a spell, so if you cast another spell, you immediately get one that deals 6 damage.
Yeah.
Plus, if you buff it,
Yeah.
you immediately, things
There's
like
so much strategy. It really is. Yeah.
I mean, there really, really is. Tell me this, and before we go through all these, does every class have a weapon?
I don't think so.
No, because I was going to tell you there's a little on your ear there.
So every class doesn't have a weapon.
Makeup.
Yeah, I really don't think so. I can check it, but I don't believe so.
No, because the Paladin doesn't have a weapon, right?
I think the Paladin does. Got like some. The Paladin has a few. I think the Warlock does not.
Okay,
The Priest doesn't. Correct.
the actual
That makes sense because they're spells.
Okay,
Yeah.
as far as weapons go, the druid in the game only would ever do it. Well, I mean, most of the time, like his damage is done when he's in animal form.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so that's in Warcraft. Now he can carry weapons.
He has like a bow staff kind of thing.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And then you get into like the hunter definitely has weapons.
Oh, yeah.
You know he's going to have weapons, but the mage, I would have thought that they would have given him some kind of.
Come on, Brenda.
Are you playing somebody named Brenda?
Is Brenda not playing now?
Well, I mean, she's taking her sweet time. She was playing.
Nice. You're just gonna get nice.
You're going to get your
There you go.
60 gold.
But it's cheap.
40
It's
gold.
like a cheap
No,
win.
a win's a win.
I'll
It's a
take
hollow
a
victory.
win is
Win
a win,
win.
brother, because that's more cards open, which makes better decks.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you get in. I would have thought the mage would have come with like some kind of wand, but maybe the fireball that the mage can do is essentially like its weapon.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
What happened?
That was me.
Oh, yeah. That'll
And that
happen.
happens.
Brenda's like, come on.
Yeah. I
Sorry, Brenda.
I truly feel like the paladin kind of has the best. The paladin has multiple.
Yeah. There's some. If you attack, it restores health at the same time.
Right.
That is dirty.
Yeah. The paladin has the
Oh boy.
I forget the name of it, but the paladin has one that definitely will restore
Brenda,
health
easy.
as you attack. Is Brenda whooping you?
Yeah.
A little bit.
She's
So
kind of
she
got a
got
full
a hold
row.
of
He's
you,
got
huh?
nothing, and she's up by a few points.
Oh well, I mean that happens. So Brenda kind of just come on strong there, right?
Yeah, Brenda, come on.
So you got old Brenda whooping the snot out of you.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
All right. But anyway, so talking about this, but each thing having its own, weapon, or each thing having its own. Everybody has a special ability.
Right, yeah. And there's some cards you see, we've talked about, like you see the card and you're like, why? First off, why is this card created? Second off, why is it epic or why is it rare?
Sure.
And the more you learn about the game, you learn the ins and outs and kind of the exploits you can use to make those cards very valuable.
Right. And when
Yeah.
when we talked about crafting earlier, JP crafted that knife thrower.
Right.
Now, the better the card, the more expensive.
Right, yeah.
And are you aware of how much it costs to craft a legendary?
It's in the thousands, like
1,600
yeah.
for any legendary.
So for that amount you used to craft that knife juggler, imagine that times 16
I know.
to do that. Yeah, it's
So,
crazy, isn't it?
and how long did it take you to get that much crafting dust available?
Not bad. Like yesterday, between today and yesterday.
Okay.
What's good about the game is, though, even though we said you can pay a lot of money, you can get almost unlimited amount of packs, you can't, much like most physical games in store, like a Magic the Gathering or a Yu-Gi-Oh!, where you can go to a comic shop and like, hey, I want that card. Even if it's $45, I'm going to buy that card for that price. Thankfully, they haven't done that with this yet, because then I think that would kind of kill it.
Absolutely.
People can go in there and buy those cards they want. Even though you can in physical games, it's
Right.
good that they still kept it where you can spend a lot of money, but it's still going to be random, you know?
Right,
It still
right.
gives some kind of sway to it.
Yeah, I think the way that they're doing it is definitely clever. I think it's good. I think the way that you have it to where you can spend money if you'd like to spend money, but you don't have to. That anyone can play, anyone can build a deck. But the only downside to being able to buy cards physically or give money to buy cards, you can spend $49 and get 40 packs.
Right, yeah.
If you do that though, you're gonna let's say it's your first day playing and you pay $49 and get 40 packs. you're going to come out with some decent cards.
Right, but it's kind of given you, and I think it is much better to play for a long time and just get
and learn
the game down. Yeah,
This entire game has been defense on my end.
really
So
trying to
you've
keep
done
up.
nothing
It's
but
all board
defense.
control for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So she's a board control person, and you've been nothing but defense.
11.
What are you at, and what's she at?
I'm at 20 with a shield of 2. She's at 30.
and how many minions do you each have?
I have 2 out. One has Divine Shield. She's about to destroy my. Yeah, she just took the Divine Shield off, so now she can attack it.
Right.
Yeah. Wow,
And which that's
The
one
nice
of the-
thing is she can't put any more minions out here.
that's good. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. That's a plus.
right.
Well, now she can.
Okay.
Oh, because
She
killed one of her own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That was the hero shot against mine.
yeah.
3. Now I'm down to 14.
All right.
2. 2.
2. Oh,
Now,
okay.
I'm down to 10. That's where it will end.
So next turn,
I got to get something good here.
You gotta get
And the
something.
Knife Juggler came out.
What do you have any deal with that?
That's only going to be good if you have something to play.
And remember,
with.
if for the record, if you have 2 knife jugglers, don't forget, if you have 2 knife jugglers down, you throw someone down. That's 2 damage each time. It does double up.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you have 2 knife jugglers down, you throw down like a Release the Hounds with someone playing
Right.
with someone with 4.
You can
that's
hit
8
it.
damage right there. Bam, 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 bam.
Wow.
Yeah. It's possible. It's a possible combo.
So is it over, JP?
We're getting there. The nice thing is, like, he's not going to be here, but if I had this one character, he's got a +6 attack right now.
Now, are the cards that have been played against you mainly low level health?
No, they've been. She built her deck with like charges and that sort of
a lot
stuff.
of high,
so
high
she
attack,
can
but low
yeah, high
attack.
attack. So you can get out there and just start.
Yeah.
Going after.
Yeah, some people-
And
yeah.
my draw at the beginning was a lot of high cards, so I could just sit here and try to put shield. on
Oh,
myself.
and see, that's one of the things too. Is that one of the things that I do, and different people play different ways. But I always, if I have higher level, anything 4 or above, I generally kill every one of those, anything 4 or above, and allow it to bring me out. And I
Right.
want 1s, 2s, and 3s on
Yeah.
my start.
Yeah.
I almost always.
I was going to ask,
do
let's
that.
talk about like not only deck building methods, but playing methods. So in Hearthstone, when you first play it,
This is
depending on which turn you've got 3 or 4 or 3 cards or around that you can pick. Do you kind of wait? If you see what happened to
See, okay. I lost to Brenda. I just lost, but at least she played fair, and this is something I want you guys to talk about because she had 2 more minions she could have attacked with. One with the 1, one with the 2.
Yeah.
I had 2 health left. She attacked with the 2
Right,
into
yeah,
the game,
yeah.
Right.
rather than attacking with the 1
Right,
and then
right.
attacking
buffing
with
them
the
up?
2.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I will give some people the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes people are just not doing the math. They're so excited they're about to win.
Yeah.
They just don't do the math.
Yeah.
But there also are people who
There are jerks out there.
who are jerks,
Yeah.
and that they use their taunts and their things that they can speak.
Yeah.
They use that prior to, like they'll do sorry right before. I don't need anybody to tell me they're sorry that they're about
Just
to
play the
kill me.
game.
Right. I definitely don't need anybody to tell me they're sorry they're about to kill me.
Yeah.
And I don't need anybody to, definitely the one that says, my magic will crush you,
Yeah.
or things like that. You can
Yeah.
do the taunt that's more like a dirty whatever, like trying to be mean to
Yeah.
them. When you have somebody about to do the killing blow and they pause and do them an emote like that and then kill you, why? Wow.
That's
but
true.
at least Blizzard built in the fact that you can
squelch
them.
them. Yeah.
Well, you can concede.
Oh,
and
yeah, you
can
can
squelch
squelch,
them.
yeah.
And I'll tell you what I do like to do. If I know somebody's going to kill me next round and they've been a jerk and
Yeah.
been taunting or doing stuff or taking slow times, I'll go ahead and
Squelch them.
use my I take my. If I only have like 2 left and I know I'm done and they kill me next round,
Yeah.
I don't give them the benefit of killing me. I'll take my hero and run them into like their biggest minion that
Yeah.
I know is going to kill me and go ahead and kill myself. So it's like a Harry Carey in the card realm. I don't know. What do you do?
Yeah,
When
I
you
do
know
sometimes.
you're
Yeah,
gonna die?
yeah. I'm just like, whatever. Or I can see not a lot, but if I see, I play the game up now. I can see in the future if
If
I've
somebody's
got the
going to
game or
take
not.
a minute and a half doing their last turn that they
Yeah.
can hit me with one of their minions and kill me, but they play every other minion in their deck,
Mm-hmm.
and then they kill the minions around me, and they could have just done one shot. Done, I will immediately concede and
Yeah.
not give them the benefit of the doubt,
Right.
just because to me it's bad sportsmanship.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
It's you. There's no reason for you to show that you did everything, whatever. Now, I did think about this recently, that they could just be trying to fulfill a quest.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
But
Yeah. It's still not good for you.
It don't work for me.
What do you play now, JP? I see a new game started up.
I'm playing Soul Damien.
Hello, Soul Damien.
Oh, Soul Damien.
And
I know him.
I think this is going to be pretty fair.
What's
He's
the
got a pretty
matchup?
good. He played with right now. It's 30 with one shield versus 30.
What is he playing with? Which class?
Oh, he's playing a warrior. It's a warrior against warrior.
Oh, okay.
I do like the armor smith. He just played the armor
Yeah,
smith against
that's a good
me.
one.
That's a pretty
Is that
good
the one where you get 5 armor and 1 card?
Whenever a friendly minion takes damage, gain 1 armor.
Yeah, she starts
Okay.
out at 1/4, I believe. And
Oh,
every
you're
time-
talking about a minion named Armor Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that 5 damage with 1 card is good.
The
Yeah.
5 damage with 1 card has saved me. It's a draw card.
Yeah.
And let's speak about that. Speaking of that, when you are in a match, the amount of cards that you have in your hand, card control, makes a difference.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I didn't realize that at first. How long did it take you to realize that makes a big difference?
Quite a bit. I mean, not until I had the, like with the Zoo deck I run, that life tap, which is the hero power for the Warlock.
Warlock.
It's pretty important because
You
you
can
yeah,
Take 2 of your health away
Yeah.
and immediately give yourself a
draw
card.
Yeah, which is very good for that deck because you need as many cards as you can at all times.
Right.
To kind of build off of each other. And so, yeah, it's tough playing that and then going to other classes that don't have the life tap. And I'm just
Right.
like, man, I wish I had more cards right now. You know, I need
Sure.
there are cards in this deck I need desperately right now.
I
but
need it
can't-
right now.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So the more cards you have in your hand, especially when you play like an Azura Drake or something like that, where it comes out and you have plus blank defense, where blank is the amount of cards in your hand.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stuff like that, it can be beneficial.
Yeah, anything like that. I almost put the Azure Drake in every one of my my decks just because, I mean, obviously it gives +1 spell damage, which is great.
Right, yeah.
He attacks for pretty decent, but plus you draw a card. But the fact that you draw a card, any card that you can throw out that you draw a card, he's one of the higher level that when you lay him out, you immediately draw a card. And he attacks pretty decent. I
Yeah.
think he's a 4/4 maybe or something
Right.
along
Is that
those
the
lines.
Drake that has the +1 for health? I'm thinking
It's got +1 for spell damage.
okay, I'm thinking one of the Drakes has the plus health, however many cards you have in your hand, which is
Oh,
it's
wow.
very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Right
know.
there, yeah.
I believe I know. Which
I think
one
he
you're
starts out
speaking
with
of.
a 2 defense, but yeah, if you could have
Right.
many more from that.
All right, so I see a perplexed look on
Uh-oh.
JP's face.
It's a card I hadn't seen before.
Of yours or his?
What got dropped on you?
It was a frothing berserker.
Yes, anytime any minion takes damage, they gain attack. Yours or their minion. Anytime anyone takes damage, he gains +1 attack. Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
But how much health does he have?
3.
So
Look,
with
he's
a-
about to go away because I have my
Is
Arcanic.
he starts at a
Reaper.
He starts at 2/3, I guess. Is that what he starts at? 2/3.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anytime anyone takes damage, he gets +1 attack.
Yeah, Arcanite Reaper's pretty nice. But the
Arcanite, sorry.
yeah, no, you're good, bud. But when you get into this, I mean, there's so many things to learn about it. But I think that's why I enjoy it. I mean, I literally learn something new every time
Oh
I play.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I really do. Do you think you ever get to the point where you really just have a complete hold on it, or how
No.
did Karma talk like that?
She's very aware of how the meta works, how it changes all the time, and they're constantly changing methods. Like Blizzard changes it almost pretty frequently, and of course with the Curse of Naxxramas coming out, it's going to be a whole new ball game.
Right.
And there's all kinds of crazy stuff I've seen. I've seen a few cards. I can't remember them sadly off the top of my head, but they're pretty crazy from what I have seen.
You think it's something that'll be put out and then eventually will be nerfed pretty fast?
Maybe. I mean, I think the community will decide that because
Yeah.
I mean, Blizzard can only develop so much until they have. As smart as they are and much they know the game because they created it. Once they put it out to the public, that's when the real knowledge comes out. It's kind of cool.
That's one of the things for me. I believe that people should be able to vote if cards should be nerfed because, like the one that does 8 damage, he can't attack, but he does 8 damage randomly.
You don't like that
at
one
the
so much?
end. I just can't. I can't fathom that that's a card that can be. It's almost like an end game card. If you put him behind a taunt,
Yeah.
you're doing 8 damage per round,
Right.
regardless of who it's hitting, whether
Yeah.
it's hitting your hero or whether it's hitting some minion. I mean, it just immediately starts killing people.
Yeah, but there are cards that like the Siphon Soul kind of destroys that and restores 2 health.
Yeah.
I think the Rogue has one, just the Assassinate, just
Yeah,
destroys a minion.
there are multiple.
Yeah.
You can do it with a warrior. He can immediately kill a minion. The rogue can kill a minion.
You can do a hex with
You
your
can do a hex with
transmorph.
a shaman. You can do a sheep with a
mage.
a mage.
Yeah.
So there are combats.
Yeah.
There are combats for all these big
And even like an
cards.
Ironbeak Owl, just silence him.
Yeah,
Bring him out,
silence.
just 2-drop silence,
And
bam.
One of the things that you brought out that I never thought about is the fact that you can silence your own cards.
Yeah,
So
sometimes,
if you
yeah.
have one that can't attack, like let's say that you had an Ironbeak Owl, and then you drop that one that can't attack
The
but is
Ancient
an
Watcher.
8 and 8.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So what if you silenced him, he would be able to attack, but he would stop doing his deal 8 damage afterwards, right?
Right, yeah.
So then he would be able to attack.
Right.
There's just so many ways you can do it.
But like the Ancient Watcher is a good example.
The Ancient Watcher can attack.
Right. He's a
2-drop.
4/5, I believe.
4/5, but that's the whole thing is
he just can't attack.
Unless you can put taunt on him, he's not really worth anything.
Right. But so bring out the Ironbeak Owl first, silence him, where he's a valid 4/5.
Right.
And bring out like a Force of Nature, give him a +2/+2 taunt. So he's a 2-drop 6/7 all of a sudden.
So he becomes just vicious really fast.
Yeah.
And one of the other things that I learned, kind of, I think it's fun to throw out tricks of the trade. I was watching a guy on YouTube play. He was using a shaman deck, and there's a whirlwind that is a 1-drop, but it has an overload on it. So I'll try to figure out what it's called, but anyway, it's a guy who has 1 health. He has Wind Fury, but 3 attack. So if somebody can hit him pretty fast, he's vicious. I mean, he's dead.
We're going straight to the hero.
He's gone.
Yeah.
But if somebody's dumb enough to leave him alive, and let's say that you were able to he's got an overload on him is the only problem, which means that you don't get any mana the next turn.
Explain overload to me, because I'm totally
overload,
unaware how that
if
works.
you're playing Shaman, you are literally borrowing from your next turn. So the issue with borrowing from your next turn is you will get that many less mana. Let's say that it has 2 overload. Then in your next turn, you have 2 less mana. So one of the cool things that I did notice that you can do is, let's say that the other person, that it's actually called a Dust Devil, but he looks 1-drop. He's got Wind Fury. So let's say that you were going second, and at the start of the game, you could literally pull your mana card out and drop 2 of these first round. So if he doesn't kill those 2 in his turn, you are going to hit.
That's 12, right?
For 12.
Wow.
On turn 2.
I didn't think about that.
You're going to hit for 12.
Huh.
So let's say that you hit for 12, and then the next round, if he still doesn't kill him, let's say that you throw a Flame Tongue in between them. They both get +2.
Wow.
That next hit ends the game. 3-turn kill.
It does, doesn't it?
3-turn game ender.
Wow.
So it goes to 5 apiece. They both hit for 10.
20 of the
20.
Yeah.
If he doesn't heal, and you were able to throw that, if you got the right card pulls, it's all over in 3 turns.
Wow. That's pretty crazy.
So how crazy? And I have watched a 3-turn game on YouTube. I've watched a 3-turn game kill.
That would be
the
dirty.
lowest I've ever killed somebody is a 6.
What about the card you played against me last night?
Which one was that?
Where you doubled the. It didn't even have attack, and then you
yeah.
you ended up with an 18 attack on it.
It was the Light Well.
Okay,
so I gave him
and
double.
I've done that.
I forget the name of it. I doubled his health. What's the name of that card?
You double the health. Is hold on, I'll find it while you're talking about it. But you doubled his health, and then
I gave him the attack
equality.
Yeah, so he was a 20/20.
Yeah, that is wonderful.
And I was like, because it was totally like a pretty close game. We're both like the high 20 or low, like maybe high teens. And I did that. I'm like, and I actually gave him a sorry. I didn't mean to, but I gave him a
You sure did.
Yeah.
I felt bad. I was like, sorry.
So here it is. It's called Divine Spirit.
Right, Divine Spirit.
So if you've got a priest, you cast. Let's say that you throw the Light Well. If you get the Light Well, here's what the Light Well does. It is a 2-drop. And it says at the start of your turn, restore 3 health to a damaged friendly character.
Which is amazing.
First off. Now, when it says character, that means minion or your
hero. Yeah,
your hero. And if your hero's the only one, it'll constantly heal him for 3. It starts with 5 health but 0 attack. So if it has 5 health and 0 attack, you double that minion's health.
Right, is 10-0 or
That'll
0-10.
be 10.
Yeah.
If you were to double it a second time,
which I did.
Oh, he
goes
just played a
to
legendary
20.
card on me.
And then after he goes to 20, you do Inner Fire, which changes the minion's attack equal to his health. You have a 20/20.
So I had a 2-drop. Or no, how much?
So by the time you hit 5, you could have done that.
Look at this.
I did.
Okay, did you get a legendary played on you?
Yeah.
What was it?
Gromish, Hellscream, Charge, and Rage, +6 attack.
Oh, yeah. That's the yeah.
That's going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, and Gromish Hellscream would be the brother of the Hellscream that you play with, right?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Well, you've got 2 shields up, though, which could be all right.
Yeah, he's gone. It's gone.
It's got nice.
So you killed him.
Yeah.
Fantastic. But how much damage did he do to you?
Well, I have shield 7, health 2. He's got 21 health.
But he's got 0 minions and JP has 2 out.
Yeah.
One with
There
shield.
you go. So you could end up winning
Autonomy.
this.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things. There's
Maybe.
so many little tricks. So essentially, if you can double a light whale's health, it has 0. But the good thing about the light whale is it's only a 2-drop.
Right,
Because
yeah.
it doesn't think it can attack.
Exactly.
But if you double its health twice and then change a minion's attack with inner fire, you immediately change that to a 20/20.
That's what I did.
Even if you just double it once.
Yeah.
Let's say on round
yeah,
by
10-10.
round 3 you could make it a 10/10.
Yeah.
By round 4 you could make it a 20/20.
He still has his power. He's still healing people for 3
It's
every
still
time.
healing people.
Yeah.
And if you were to put taunt on that, which I have before,
Or even like a divine shield, be over.
turns into
divine
a
shield be
monster.
over.
It
yeah.
is all over but the crying.
Yeah. That's crazy. I do believe priest is one of the if it can be used properly,
I
one
think
of the
it's
most
the
powerful.
strongest.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that shaman and priest are
Yeah.
probably the top.
Yeah.
Just because of their abilities that they can do.
I believe
You
so.
have so many things that you can do. The only problem is lots of times the shaman doesn't have something to attack with. He doesn't
wait for
he does
the
end
later
up
rounds.
having a storm-forged axe, and I think you can also get one other thing to attack with. But at first, when I was using my shaman at the beginning, it was the only one I was using.
Yeah.
And one of the problems was that if they could kill my minions, I couldn't attack them, and I could never take their health down.
Really?
So that ended up really
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
throwing something
Right.
off.
Yeah.
So
the warrior.
I've
JP
got him next round.
Really? He was up high.
So he's going to be dead, and we're going to buy some cards. So what do you got
you
going
know.
on?
Wow,
Why don't
he
you
was
give us
up high. Wow.
give us a little bit of a play-by-play right now.
Yeah.
What do you
Well,
got
he
going?
just played a taunt, so he can't do anything. He can up his. Doesn't matter. 7, 8, 9. I've got him.
He's dead.
He's dead.
He is. He's dead.
Oh, I got to attack the minion.
But you got it. You still got it.
Nope, it's going to take one more round.
Make sure to get your armor though. Go to your hero
Okay, can
power
you
and
give
get
And
plus
I'm
5.
going to draw a card.
Yeah, draw your
so,
card.
How much health does he have? How much health do you have?
I've got 4. Well, I've got 16 shield, 2 health. He's got 4 health.
Yeah, he's got this. He's got this game.
So you're going to win this, and then
He's
we're
down
gonna,
to 1 health now.
Now, did you your armor? Yeah.
I got my armored up.
Yeah, he's got 18 armor right now with 2 health.
Oh,
And
that's
the
perfect. So
other
unless
guy's
he
got
does
one.
something
He's-
amazing,
Yeah, there's nothing. He's got 20 health pretty much, and the other guy's 1 with 3 minions out and a weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
2
over.
minions and a weapon.
Yeah, it's
Have you
over.
seen
And the
the-
2 minions are taunt.
have you
So-
seen the card that deals the number of damage to all the minions as much armor as you have?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Can you imagine if he had that 18
I need to
health
get that?
and he draws that card and
No,
plays
that's
it?
dirty with that plus 5 health. Yeah,
All right,
armor.
what's going on? You got him?
Let's see. All I got to do is hit him twice. So I'm going to
hit him with a 4. Hit him with a 4.
I'm going to be nice.
Why? No, he's got a 2-1.
I hit him with a 3.
Oh, okay. I thought
And
okay.
I killed him.
Well, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
All right, there we go.
So
It's
you
card time.
just won. Tell me,
Yeah.
walk us through the play-by-play. This is what we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Okay, you just got the victory. Can you?
Right.
Can you? We can hear the sound, right?
Right. You should be able to hear the sound.
Okay. So
I can
you
crank
just
it up a little
won.
bit.
And what did it do? Did it give you a card?
No, let's see if it give me a card. No, it might be. Maybe I might get a card out of that one.
Did you win 40 gold?
Yeah, I'm at 105 now.
So you're at 105.
There we
So
go.
we know that every 100 you get, you can actually
So, yeah, every 100 gold or
Purchase-
150 or
purchase a pack.
$1.50 equals.
So you go to the shop, purchase a pack.
I'm going to purchase a pack. I love gold.
Each time it opens one up, a card. It gives you your cards face down, and one by one you click them
Yeah.
to bring them face up. It's
Yeah.
very fun.
So
It's like the game within a
give
game.
us a play-by-play as you open them.
Let's see here.
Time to
We're
open the
going to
pack.
Open the packs.
There we go. Yeah.
Energize them. You know that
Yeah.
sound. What do we got here? Storm Forged Axe Overload 1.
Okay.
Shaman.
And is that shaman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hunter Freezing Trap. Secret, when an enemy minion attacks, return it to its owner's hand and it costs 2 more.
Now each deck will have at least one rare or higher in it. That's
Yes,
a fact.
one blue or higher, and this is the blue.
Nourish. Choose 1. Gain 2 mana crystals or draw 3 cards. By the way,
That is a druid.
that's a druid. I have all these so far.
Okay.
And that was the rare.
Yeah, but you could get 2.
Force of Nature. Summon 3, 2,
Is that
2.
2?
You got an epic.
Yeah, with charge that die at the end of the turn. That's
You
a
just got
druid
an
one.
epic,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so it's a purple.
Yep.
Okay.
Here's the last one.
And it's a rare.
Oh wow.
You got
Equality.
another blue.
Change the health of all minions
it.
to 1.
Yep.
Paladin.
Okay, that's to the 1. Oh,
That's
yeah,
one of
the
the
paladin.
cool ones.
It seems like every class has that card.
Change it to 1.
Yeah,
That's
mage.
all minions. That's not just 1 minion.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true.
That's all
yeah.
minions.
Yeah.
So you immediately change the game with that.
Yeah.
If you played that late in the game, how many mana was that?
I think 4. I want to see 4.
Hang on a second, I'll
But
tell
you play that late in the game, and let's say that he's got all his big dogs out there, and you do your hounds.
Yeah.
No. That's not that was for a mage
Paladin.
or
Paladin.
paladin. Yeah. So the hounds can't go to the paladin.
Well,
It's a 2. Yeah, it's a 2-drop.
2.
So.
Oh, nice.
2 drop, and it
Nice.
changes them all to 1.
Nice.
So we've literally since we've been doing this podcast, we've experienced playing the game, we've experienced talking about it,
Deck
we've
building.
done the deck building.
The meta, the ideology behind it all. What's going to happen in the future with
Oh,
the
I'm ready to talk,
Christmas
guys. You ready to do the show?
But JP, you do enjoy it. You're having fun with the
Yeah.
game.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wish I had never doubted it.
yeah. So I mean, we opened, we did a quest,
Yeah.
which is a daily thing that you will do if
Right.
you play Hearthstone. So we did a quest. We've got gold. We purchased a pack.
You firsthand witnessed the daily life of a Hearthstoner.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fun and it goes so fast. Do you feel like that you've done?
It doesn't feel like that took an hour.
Yes,
Hey.
yeah.
Because it took, what, I played 3? It took 3 games?
Yeah, well, maybe more than that.
4?
right?
It took 4.
And one of
took at
those was
least
a
4.
delay person. Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, I mean, average game is not necessarily 15 minutes.
no, maybe-
I've had games last 5. Yeah,
See, the Warriors are tough because that shield.
Right. Yeah, that is a yeah. If I
That's
have
the
time,
hero power up in the
Right.
shield every
Right.
time.
Yeah,
So.
and same for priest. I heal a lot with a priest, so it's kind of a longer game.
Right.
But like a warlock or my mage, kind of it goes a little faster.
And one of the things that we didn't talk about, now this is important because if you're playing this game and you've never gotten to the end of your deck, when you finish and you get to the end of your deck, let's say that you've burnt through them and you're done, and it says you're out of cards. The time you draw your last one, you're fine. But the next round, it'll burn you for 1 point against one.
Against
It'll
your
take
health.
1 health off. Well, then the very next round, it's 2 health, and it does nothing but go up from
3,
there.
4, 5. Yeah, I've lost
So-
a few games like that.
So
It's no
if
good.
you have to be really careful with card management.
Oh, that's how we played that last night. One of our games.
Yeah, one of the games that we played, it got down to the point where both were out, but it ended up burning them.
Really.
Yeah, you went out first.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad we all enjoyed the game.
Yeah, that was
That's a-
fun.
yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's a very. I think if you're a gamer of any capacity, I think it can reach you.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
really
Yeah,
do.
totally. Yeah.
It's one of the few games that I've ever seen that reach such a wide range of people. If you're into card gaming, you'll like it. If you're into Warcraft, you'll like it. If you're into any kind of regular gaming, if you're into strategy gaming, I mean, do you know many games that hit this wide of a variety of people?
Not really. And it's collecting. It's like the whole collecting idea. It's fun to get those new cards.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It mixes a lot of things. I mean, I could really almost talk about it on Collection Connection for the fact that it's. I mean, you're collecting cards.
it's
I mean,
yeah.
you're collecting them digitally,
Right, but still
it's no different than collecting something else digitally.
Yeah, like your collection in there is different than mine and his devices.
Right.
We have different collections in our device there.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
it's all the same stuff. Well,
Very
thank you
cool.
guys for joining me.
Okay.
I feel like that kind
It
of
was
flew
fun.
by, an hour of Hearthstone.
Yeah,
but
I know.
We'll do it again soon, shall we?
Our Hearthstone. Hey,
Yeah.
How about next week's show?
There we go.
Now let me ask you a question real quick before you go. Do you, if they had like at Dragon Con, if they had a big Hearthstone
We
gathering
should have
type
a fun-
thing,
I
would you go?
Without a doubt. I would
Yeah,
be
for
there.
sure.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
I mean,
sure.
and what if like some kind of Blizzard representative or something
man.
showed up and said, "Hey, this is a Dragon Con exclusive card,"
Oh,
and handed you a thing and you could load
that'd be
it on
amazing.
there.
That'd be
Yeah.
amazing.
Like
Yes.
a code.
Yeah,
I would
code.
love that without a doubt.
How cool! And they'd be selling those things on eBay like for
Oh yeah,
$100.
Oh,
You know what I
yes.
mean? I mean,
Yeah.
it'd be crazy. But anyway, with like
Yeah.
Dragon Con coming up, I could only imagine
We
that-
could do a Hearthstone meetup at Dragon
We could do a
Con.
fireside
that would
gathering.
be cool.
Yeah.
Let's
could.
talk about that. Let's chat it up because
We just
I
got to
wanna
find
do it.
someplace that has good Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's got- yeah.
I mean, if not, I mean, maybe I wonder, and I've never tried this. I think you have to be connected in to the web. I don't think you can just do it on a wireless router that doesn't have internet connected to it. Can you?
No, you have to because you got to find your players.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we used to have LAN parties.
Oh,
back in the
yeah, I
day.
see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just wondered if you could do something similar to that.
Right.
So,
I think so.
I
Yeah,
don't
it's
think you
got
can.
some Wi-Fi, yeah.
But anyway, but seriously, I mean, we need to think about it at Dragon Con because
Yeah.
we could do something really cool.
We'll meet up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll think about
We'll
it.
talk about it, yeah. But always follow us on adamandjp.com. Check us out on there, and of course on Twitter at adamandjp. And you know what? Check out some Facebook. Facebook.com/adamandjp. And you can find all the good stuff with I'm Not Famous, Collection Connection, and of course here on 8-Bit Adam and the Adam and JP Show. So until next time, this is 8-Bit Adam.
end of the world now. Haven't you heard? So smoke 'em if you got 'em. Boys and girls, say goodbye to the past now. Raise up your glass and revel while it lasts. It's the end of the world. Sometimes I am afraid to die. My flesh and bones won't testify. My enemies and friends share the same residence. But don't eulogize on my behalf. I'm a long way from my epitaph. I'm only getting started on this lost highway. I am brave and I am not afraid. Hey, it's the end of the world now. Haven't you heard? So smoke 'em if you got 'em. Boys and girls, say goodbye to the past now. Raise up your glass and revel while it lasts. It's the end of the world. Oh, I am foolish, I am blind. Lose my heart and lose my mind. My soul feels like a trumpet on the battlefield. Don't shower me with flattery. I ain't got no time for pleasantries. Give me the truth and set me free. Hey, it's the end of the world now. Haven't you heard? So smoke 'em if you got 'em. Boys and girls, say goodbye to the past now. Raise up your glass and revel while it lasts. It's the end of the world. Go tell the congregation we need a revelation. Go tell the congregation we need a revelation. Hey, it's the end of the world now. Haven't you heard? So smoke 'em if you got 'em.